I'm having trouble getting on my Facebook once it's supposed to send me a thing on my text and it won't ever send it. And
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good, Corey. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, the Friday edition of the Rob Brown Radio program.
you were trying so hard to get your headphones
really
on
was.
before
I really was. Good morning.
Good morning.
There it is. I mean, how else could I start my day if I didn't get a good morning, you know?
Well, I can guarantee you won't hear one at all next week.
You can guarantee me that?
Yeah, I can guarantee you no good mornings next week, no Big Daddies, no nothing.
What about Gardner?
He's a big ass boy, is what he is. God dang.
Well, you'll be able to do that, but there won't be anything coming from this side of the board. So sadly, this is my last day.
Lonzo going on vacation just decided he's better than all the rest of us, I guess.
Well, yeah.
At least he's honest about it. I appreciate
Well,
that.
no, because my cart thing is on my personal thing. And
He's
so,
a big ass boy, is what he is. God dang.
okay, so I didn't know we'd start Friday morning with you calling me fat. And, and there you go.
Listen,
You can't be that without being fat.
I just need an excuse to play my new favorite drop.
He's a big ass boy, is what he is. God dang.
Gardner Minshew's my favorite. Just my favorite.
I thought your loins tingling was your favorite.
My loins have been tingling.
What a day, kids.
Girl.
What a day. We have just so many things to get to on the radio broadcast today.
Hollywood.
You may or may not know this, but the Kansas City Chiefs have themselves a new wide receiver because Patrick Mahomes had Rashee Rice and nobody else last year.
Travis Kelce.
I mean,
You were specifically talking about receivers.
did you go change that in the Sports Flash?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. Because, you were being specific about
For the record,
receivers.
that statistic is true, even if you put Travis Kelce in it. To people not named Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce completed 55% of it, or excuse me, Patrick Mahomes completed 55% of his passes last year. To everybody that wasn't number 4, dude was basically good for just a touch over 1 out of 2 being completed. Even when you put Travis Kelce into the mix, that's not good. Sorry, let me clear that up. When I say that's not good, I mean for everybody else.
But isn't the stat one of those stats that hides other things, like the fact that he spread the ball around so much that only one person got the ball a little bit more than everybody else? I mean, I haven't looked at the stats. Where there are other receivers on the team who caught the ball.
I mean, there were, but the stat is the stat. To everybody, you had Rashee Rice, and to everybody else.
Okay, who needs a map to help find the end zone?
Dora out there body bagging half the league.
Wow, that was Dora. Okay, I just want to say that everything you're doing right now on behalf of the Kansas City Chiefs, I consider disrespectful. I just want you to know that.
How is reading numbers disrespectful?
That reminds me, we got flagged again yesterday.
I saw that.
I don't know who it was.
I do.
Who?
Russia. And do you want to know?
No, I didn't know what show. Was it us?
No, it was us.
Russia got us again.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm about to make you genuinely laugh at it even harder. Russia flagged us. They took us back off the air in Russia. All right, we are sorry, comrades. We are here for you, even if Putin's not, okay? And you want to know what they tagged us for in Russia, what they said, all the stuff we play, all the clips we drop, all the music we play. Do you want to know what song it was that got us booted in Russia? This is not a joke. It listed it on the copyright report.
It's getting hot in here?
Nope.
No?
I Am a Real American.
Okay, how old is that? I mean,
It's
I
from
haven't.
a while back.
I was going to say I haven't played that for a while.
From a while back.
You're right.
But
That's hilarious.
Russia
That is
took
hilarious.
us off the radio for I am a real American.
Screw you, Russia. that's all I got to screw.
Suck it, Putin.
Yeah. Hey, Russia.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Hell yeah!
Fight for your life.
Flag us again, Russia.
Also, we can play 54 seconds.
Okay, I wasn't keeping track of that.
Down and it hurts inside.
That's Hulk Hogan playing the guitar.
Play.
We got to get to at least to the bridge here. There we go. I think it's a bridge. I guess it's probably still part of the verse. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. Suck it, Russia. I am a real American. Fight for what's right.
Fight for your life. Bow, 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 bow. That got us taken off the air in Russia, kids. That's not a joke. I'll post the screen cap. I got home yesterday. I was at the house. I was getting comfortable, getting ready to go out last night because as I am indeed a real American, I went to go see Skinnerd and ZZ Top last night.
Skinner!
Hell yeah!
Did you yell it? How many people yelled Skinner? Did no one yell Skinner at a Skinner concert?
Everybody yelled Skinner. The arena started a free bird chant at one point. Like, obviously we did. So
who was the other band there?
ZZ Top.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I didn't even know they had an opener. Blackstone Cherry opened for them.
Oh, there you go.
It was a kick-ass night, man. Wow. So I'm at the house.
America.
I'm getting pumped. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm feeling real good. And I get ping. And I look down and it's like, your video has been removed in certain regions. Tap here to find out why. I was like, all right, it's Belarus. It's Belarus again.
Oh, no, they learned their lesson.
So,
Belarus don't want none.
So I open the email and I click the link from Facebook and I go to the page and it says your video has been removed due to a copyright claim. And I'm like, all right, because Lonzo and I know this is a thing we have to do. We're streaming professionals. We are hashtag influencers at this point. So we've gone out of our way. In fact, those of you that watch the stream every day, available at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, on YouTube by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show, the same on Twitch. If you watch the stream every day, you know there are awkward parts of the show where we're playing something on the radio that we can't play on the stream so we don't get pinged with the red flag of death and injustice. So I'm like, all right, like we're real careful about this. What do we get pinged for? And so about, I guess a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, this claim's like 2 months old and I open it and it's like your video has been removed in the following regions. Russia. I'm like, all right, that checks out. We like, freedom and democracy and et cetera, et cetera. And Putin is a bad person. Is a bad person. If I fall out of a window unexpectedly in the next couple of weeks, it's because of this.
Don't worry, they can't hear us in Russia because we just
That's
played
fair.
that and we'll get flagged.
That's
so
fair.
Yeah.
So I open it up and it's like more details. Click here. So I click on the detail list and I follow it, and it's like your video is subject to a copyright claim because you played over 55 seconds of I am a real American. You played just a little bit too much of Rick Derringer on the show.
I really hope that the boss clicked on that too.
So do I.
Because he would think it's
So do
funny
I.
too.
Hey boys, you got a copyright strike, but may I just say,
Hell yeah!
suck it, Putin. Enjoy your totally legitimate thing you got going on over there. Texter said, thanks, Rob and Lonzo, for singing I Am a Real American. I'm now driving 90 miles an hour down the interstate.
There are certain songs that make you do that. I mean, you know.
Listen, I sat last night. I listened to a bunch of dudes in their 70s play Freebird. It's awesome. It's awesome. You got a couple of legitimate out loud from me.
Which part?
100% you were right about the beer, by the way.
I was going to say
100% you were right about
I was going to ask you which parking garage you were in and how many long necks were laying there when you left.
Most of them.
Okay. How many?
So the last conversation that Lonzo and I had yesterday before I left, very last conversation, I was like, all right, Robbie B's on his weight loss journey and boozing has got to take a back seat. Just to once I get down to where I want to be, then I'll put it back into the life. But right now, no boozing. I'm on a diet plan right now. I'm allowed 2 beverages a week. And what I've been doing is saving them for the weekend. I had my 2 beers at the Triumph game last Saturday. I was going to save them and have a couple of beers this Sunday for Tournament Championship Sunday, TPC Championship Sunday. Sunday's a big day. We're racing at Bristol Sunday. Sunday's a spectacular, spectacular sports day. One of the better ones we've had in a while. So I was saving my 2 brewskis. So we get there, and because my fiance and you are better than you, and we know it, we were in a luxury box for this show because we're real Americans. And the luxury box we were in was stocked, had a fridge full of beer. Just grab a beer, fridge full of it. Just grab a beer. And I walk in and I'm like, okay, you know what, Rob, you got this. You got this. No brewskis tonight. All right. No Jack and Cokes for you tonight. Just relax. Just enjoy the show. You know, keep it chill. It's Skinner. Enjoy the show. They came out, started with working for MCA. And I'm like, yeah, I'm having a beer. So I cracked a long neck. Long neck bottle. Let go of my hand. So then it was like 3 steps, you know? And then they played Curtis Lowe, the Ballad of Curtis Lowe, one of the greatest songs ever put on vinyl. And then they obviously saved Freebird for the last song of the night. And they start with Van Zant's brother, who's the active lead singer now, starts the song, but then halfway through the song, they switch it to the original vocal tracks that play over the band that is performing the song. And they put him.
Wait, they Milli Vanilli'd it?
Not Milli Vanilli, because the band is still playing. So
was there a hologram?
No, but
that would have been cool. Though.
It wasn't a hologram, but they put Ronnie Van Zant up on the screen, right? And they put him up on the screen. They do live concert footage of Ronnie Van Zant singing Freebird, and it's just his vocal track, but the band keeps playing. And when he gets to that last couple of like Freebird, yeah, well, I was like, screw it. And I got 2 beers and cracked them both and was just hell yeah out of a luxury box to Freebird. And, you know, I got to tell you, man, all of a sudden, I was not a red-blooded American. I was a red, white, and blue-blooded American. I was feeling myself a little bit in the box. And by the way,
America,
how the hell does ZZ Top still sound as good as ZZ Top sounds? I've gotten to the point where
one of them died, right? Was it the drummer?
No, it was the bassist.
Oh, okay.
It was Dusty that died.
Okay, so Billy Gibbons is still.
He's still
okay. All right.
Billy Gibbons is Lonzo. Courtney asked me this as we were leaving the venue last night. At 74 years old, I think he's in the top 4 guitarists I've ever seen play live at this point.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He was flawless. It was up. There were some spots during Skinnerd where you could tell, like, yeah, hands in the 70s don't really bend and shake around like they used to. And there were some spots where it was like, it's a little rough for old Leonard.
Are these things that you wouldn't notice if you weren't a guitarist?
Not necessarily, because at one point the fiance kind of elbowed me and she was like, "Is that right?" And I was like, "No, not really. Not really. Missed the scale, Maybe a bit, note too off, bent a little too far, not quite enough, just out of time. Still real good. I mean, it's still Leonard damn Skinner, It's still real good.
If it's later on in the evening, no one else noticed because they were well on into whatever they were drinking. So,
where's my Stone Cold? There it is. Little bit off. Wasn't bad. It wasn't like ruin the show bad. It was just like, okay, they're human beings and they're very clearly not playing background tracks, right? Like it's good. And then ZZ Top came out. And it was like, bro, they were perfect. They were perfect. Now, when Dusty Hill passed away, and I had forgotten this. The last time ZZ Top was here, they were supposed to play the amphitheater in Simpsonville, and they had to cancel that show because it was the day Dusty Hill passed away. They were supposed to play here that night. I was supposed to go to that show. I was bummed out. I was bummed out. And I didn't know if they were going to be done or not. This is kind of a dope story. When Dusty was in Bad Hell, he was still playing shows. Real Bad Hell, still playing shows because that's all he wanted to do. And apparently he told Billy Gibbons, when I pass, you keep playing. You and Frank keep playing. Our guitar tech is your new bassist. And so they gave the bassist job to their guitar tech, whose name is Elwood. It's perfect. It's perfect. Elwood Francis is his name. Here, I'm even gonna. I saw something last night I've never seen before. This is the bass he opened the show with.
Dude.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
I don't know what that is.
It's a 17-string bass guitar.
It's like something Ravi Shankar would.
It's unbelievable. Playing. So these dudes come out. Here comes Elwood Francis, Billy Gibbons, and Frank Beard, and they were. Now I'll say this. Frank Beard, phenomenal drummer who looks like he's asleep when he's playing, man. He's just like, this is like Blackstone Cherry's drummer doing the tricks, throwing the sticks up in the air, spinning them around. Drummer for Skinner back there, absolutely getting it. Frank Beard, Lonzo, it's just.
You have does he have a smaller kit too?
Yep, he plays a 5-piece. Blackstone Cherry played a 4-piece. Skinner played a 5-piece. But dude, they're just 74 years old and just living their best damn life. And it was an incredible concert. Incredible concert. It's rare. I'm
glad that you came away from it not disappointed, because there've been some that you came away that you were not. Yeah.
Listen, when you go see, and I want to be careful in how I phrase these things, but when you go see older bands, these guys are all of them are in their 70s, right? So when you go see these older bands, as I have said to Zoe before, I don't go in expecting to see ZZ Top the way that my mother saw them in the 70s, right? I don't go in expecting to get the same show that my mom and dad got in the 80s. I understand they're in their 70s. It's going to be a different gig. And so most of the time, I don't set my expectations all that high. I'm just like, it's less to see them at their best and more just to say I've seen them, right? Just I can now say I had never seen them. Now I get to say I've seen Skinner like 8 times. I'll see him probably multiple more. I'd never seen ZZ Top. Now, even though it was not the original lineup, it's 66% of it. And the guy that replaced the only one who died was handpicked to replace him by the guy who died. It's about as good as you can get. So I did not go in with the highest of expectations. Skinner was Skinner. They're always going to be Skinnered. ZZ Top was incredible. And I am going to say, and I mean this, I've seen Clapton. I've seen Young. I've seen Vi. I've seen a who's who of guitarists. Billy Gibbons might be in the top 5 guitarists I've ever watched play live. He was unbelievable last night. There was not a note out of place. It was incredible at 74 years old. All right. Let's see. What do we got? Text line's already firing off. What would they do if you played James Brown's song from Rocky? I don't know. Probably try to hit us with a transcontinental warhead or something.
Don't say it's dark, man. We wouldn't see it coming.
Spur Daddy said, "Yeah, brother. Hulkamania forever, brother." Take that, Putin. You want some of these 24-inch pythons, brother? I didn't think so. Texture said, did you flick your bick on Freebird? You know what's
they don't do that anymore, right? They do the fireflies now, right?
I had a laugh about that because when you looked out around the crowd during the first part of Freebird, there were more bicks in the air than at most concerts I go to. But I also recognize it's an older crowd than most concerts I go to.
Yeah, because now it's just your cell phone.
Yeah,
right?
now everybody goes cell phone, flashlight. Last night, quality amount of bics in the air. All right. Billy Gibbons, ZZ Baby, K-Coach Rob, I listen to the show every day. Well, thanks for listening, Texter. And yes, top 5 guitarists I've ever seen play live. And man, blues, rock, jazz. He was doing all of it. It was unbelievable. And when they played Legs at the end of the show, he brought out the furry guitar from the music video.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did they spin it?
No, they did not spin it.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Nah, yes, it was, but it was still bad. He brought it out, and I'm like, get out. Get out. All right, this is a sports talk radio show. So we've got some sports talk to get to.
We also talk about life, man. And you were living life last
Let's be
night.
real. We're a music show, too. We are.
I mean,
we are.
How many lyrics are dropped during the course of the day, every day? I don't think we've ever won a show without dropping a
I don't
bunch.
think we've ever got a segment without dropping a music lyric.
Probably not.
All right, coming up, we got as I mentioned earlier, phenomenal sports weekend. We have got your Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament semifinals today. The Dukies, they're going home, baby. The Blue Devils. Duke bounced by NC State last night. North Carolina demolishes FSU. Virginia moves on as well. So we've got an ACC tournament breakdown over in the Southeastern Conference. Not only does Lamont Paris move his team on to the SEC tournament quarterfinals, but Buddy got the bag yesterday. Lamont Paris extended by the Gamecocks to stay in Columbia until 2029. That's a good move, South Carolina. That's a real good move. National Coach of the Year coming back for one more. And by one more, I mean long-ass contract. Yes, sir. Gotta love that. By the way, you know how old he will be, Lonzo, in 2029?
No.
57.
Wow.
Actually, I don't know if that's true. I just wanted to make the joke.
Okay. All right.
All right. I think that he is. He will be. He'll be 57 going on 58 that year. We're going to talk a little bit of NASCAR because the boys are headed back to Bristol this weekend, but they're going back to Bristol. No dirt on the track. We're keeping it concrete this time around. Good call, bad call. Rory McIlroy had some interesting comments. He is in the lead at TPC Sawgrass down in Jacksonville right now. I do want to talk about that, but that's not all I want to talk about. He made a very interesting remark yesterday that I think a lot of folks in college football would do well to listen to. We'll talk about that. And Jaromir Jagr, they were going to do a bobblehead night where the Pittsburgh Penguins for Jaromir Jagr last night, but they had to cancel it. Why? The heist of the century. Talking about all that more. It is going to be a busy show. Stick around, don't go anywhere. My name is Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, on the ones and twos. We are real Americans, brother. And we'll be back after this break, brother, on the Fan Upstate, brother.
Stinking Russia, man.
Spur Daddy said I saw the same show in 2001. I bet it was.
Hey, I'm going to go too.
All right. BRB stream. Don't go anywhere. We will return ever so briefly.
says 2. They only allow you to have like 2 logins.
Yeah.
Stay logged in, and it's.
Michael, Kevin, my nanny in the stream this morning. Thank you.
So on this screen right here, how do you get? Isn't there a way to?
You got Enter Studio.
Okay. Enter the right studio. It's the Terra Studio. Yeah, but it just let me in. So
Then go up to the
then go
top.
up to the thing and do. Okay, all right, I got you.
The Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo with you. Happy Friday to you all. The American Gaming Association says that Americans, real Americans, brother.
Take
I'm gonna
that.
do
Take
that
that,
a
Russia. Yeah, forget you,
I'm
Russia.
going to do that a lot today. We'll spend, or we'll wager, I should say, roughly $2.72 billion with a B dollars on the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments. And that is only wagers on the sports books. They say that number would skyrocket if you took into consideration bets that were placed on office pools, non-regulated sports books, and non-licensed sports books, etc., etc. And that number would skyrocket even further if you included bets that were included on conference tournaments. This is only on sports books for the March Madness tournament, $2.72 billion with a B dollars. The AGA conducted online surveys in previous years to produce estimates on how much was bet on the tournament, including bracket pools. Last year's survey indicated that altogether, when you include bracket pools, office pools, online polls, et cetera, last year, Americans were wagering an estimated $15.5 billion with a B dollars on the NCAA tournament, an estimate that did include bracket pools and wagers with unlicensed sports books and sports makers. To put that into context, how big this event is, $2.72 billion only on licensed sports books. The Super Bowl this year, you know, that game we played like a month and a half ago. The Super Bowl this year, $1.4 billion. You are looking at 1.3, but almost twice the amount of money being wagered on March Madness than on the Super Bowl itself. That's insane, man. That's a huge amount of money transferring hands. Well, some transferring hands. Some of us are going to win our bets during March Madness.
Wow, the arrogance. Some of us are going to win our bets.
I am a gambling professional.
It's almost like you have a betting show or something that would make it sound like you know what you're talking about.
I mean, the goal is to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't actually. You all have televisions. You don't have to actually know what you're talking about. You just got to sound like it.
Yeah, look at Mel Kiper.
Yeah. The AGA says 2.72 billion with a B dollars spent on March Madness. This is part of what is driving every decision that is getting made about college sports across the landscape. It is because there are quite literally billions on the line. If you go with the unlicensed / office pool numbers, which means you would pump that from just shy of $3 billion up to over $15 billion. This is why decisions get made. This is why there is so much hubbub when it comes to the new contract with the college football playoff. This is why they are so protective of the NCAA March Madness tournament, because of the billion with a B versus million with an M conversation. As I've pointed out to you in the past, the difference between a million and a billion, I like to put it in the context of time. A million seconds, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. If you counted to a million by seconds, Lonzo, it would take you 12 days. 12 days. Do you know how long it would take you to count to a billion if you were doing it by seconds? 31 years. 31 years. That's the difference between a million and a billion. So when I have pointed out in the past, whether we're talking about NIL money or taking some money out of the pot for the television revenue to go to the players, or whatever the conversation we are talking about is, this is the context I want you to keep in it. If you were to take out your wallet, we can't. If we were to take out Lonzo's wallet and we were to put $1 on the table every second, it would take us 12 days to take $1 million out of Lonzo's bank account, $1 at a time at $1 per second rate. It would take us 31 years to take $1 billion out of his pocket. Do you see the difference? 12 days versus 31 years. This is why these conversations are intense as they are. $1 million is a drop in the bucket. A drop in the bucket. 12 days out of 31 years. In 31 years, you'll spend what? Probably 100 days asleep out of 31 years. 12 days out of 31 years is the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. This is why is the ACC and the SEC fighting so much? Why during March Madness are they so serious about Rob and Lonzo not being allowed to say March Madness when they're promoting things? This is why. This is why. Because Americans are not gambling upwards of 15 estimated $billion. $15 billion is going to change hands, or at least be wagered, just on the March tournament. That's not conference tournaments. That's not the NIT. That's just one tournament. So when you wonder why, and we're going to talk about this in a while, Heather Denich and Pete Thamel have been covering this new television contract negotiation that's been ongoing for like a hot minute now. They are expected to sign it today, by the way, according to those two sources. When you wonder why it has been so chaotic, when you wonder why it's been so frustrating, why it's taken so long to get the new format and the new function, it's because you are talking about $1.3+ billion worth of contract rights. The TV companies want to make sure they're getting what they want out of the deal. And the NCAA / in this case, College Football Playoff Committee want to make sure that whatever they are doing is worth that $1.3 billion that they are going to sign for today. That's it. That's it. All right. Listen, I don't really have a lot of hot take on that. Americans love sports gambling. All right. Please Let me say, do it responsibly. Don't wager more than you can afford to lose. Don't chase your losses. The number one lesson in sports gambling, don't chase your losses. All right? If you lose a bet, don't double down on a crazier bet later to try to get it back. You won't. You're just going to lose that too. 2.72 billion on the books, 15.5 billion altogether. That's a crazy number. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, have you noticed an uptick in the coverage of the Dallas Cowboys over the last couple of days? I did. And then Stephen Jones, Jared Jones Light, decided to open his mouth yesterday. Now, this is almost openly anti-Dallas Cowboys show. That's no secret. So it may not surprise you that when we come back and I read to you these comments from Stephen Jones, we're going to have a chuckle. I am Rob Brown. He is Lonzo. We are the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Thank you for catching up, by the way. It would have been fun tomorrow night. I mean, I'd log on like that.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Did you get it back connected?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once the code worked the very first time. Usually they text me the code and it says wrong code.
Yeah, their two-factor is not super efficient.
But if I try to, you can also go to a place where you're logged on. Half the time, if I go to that to agree to it, it logs me off there.
Yeah.
And it's like, so.
Stephen Jones is not the conspiracy guy, but he's about to catch this smoke. I am a real American. That song's going to be stuck in my head for a couple of days. We put a Weezer song in Alonzo's head yesterday. He was complaining about it for like 3 hours.
I think that's kind of an exaggeration.
I know. I wasn't here 3 hours.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it was an exaggeration. But it wasn't even an hour, dude. So, I mean, I forgot it after you left. So I got, you're not going to do it. Well, although, I'd rather have that than the other one that was stuck in my head on my way in here. So
wasn't that the one that was stuck in your head?
No, I meant today.
Oh, Bob Seger's Hollywood Nights?
Yes.
In those high rolling hills above all the lights.
You sure that's the words?
Nope. I'm pretty sure it is. But every time you ask me, am I sure those are the words? My brain goes, "You're dumb. Shut up." Dun, 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 dun.
You've been known to
Get real close, but not all the way.
to make things up. Yeah. Hey, look, I mentioned a Charlotte workout earlier, and there she is. Wow, I could not do that. I don't know anyone who could, but no, maybe I could do that. I don't. It's a very small video. It's like 15 seconds. I just sent it to you on Twitter.
Do I have Twitter open? I do. You guys have heard me talk about the Al Davis effect in years gone by. There's a promo running for it about this show on this particular station. The Al Davis effect is what happens to an NFL team when an owner reaches, shall we say, an advanced age and does what so many of us do, which is the older we get, the more certain we are that our way is the right way. Everyone else is wrong and just trying to bring me down.
Wait, that's what's wrong with me. Okay. All right.
I would not say you're not.
All right,
You're not Jera old.
No, I'm not.
You're not Jera old.
I hope to make it that old at least.
So I have talked about the Al Davis effect and how, honestly, as a fan, the Al Davis effect, if your ownership reaches that territory, is more dangerous to your team than any rival, because you get to a spot where Al Davis was. By all accounts, by the way, just so we're clear, I do not dislike Al Davis. What Al Davis did during his career was revolutionary. We wouldn't have the NFL if it wasn't for Al Davis. But you got to call a spade when it comes down to the way he ran the team in his advanced age. And I'm afraid Jerry Jones is in that spot where JJ just knows better than everybody else. And the problem that I think you're going to bump into if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, and again, there's plenty of Cowboys coverage across every other show that exists anywhere else. This is not a Cowboys segment. It's a more everybody else pay attention segment, so it doesn't happen to you. Jera has a son by the name of Steven. Steven Jones is the executive vice president of the Dallas Cowboys. And Steven will be stepping into the office whenever JJ, I was going to say walks away, but let's be real honest, is carried away by pallbearers. And no other way is he leaving his office. I have said in the past, as bleak as it may be, as much as it has gotten me in trouble, I stand by it. There is only one solution to the Al Davis effect: the owner dying. That's it. That's it. Not pulling for it, not hoping for it. I don't want to say, none of that would be accurate, but it just is what it is. So, the Dallas Cowboys fans, as I'm sure my buddy Cole Bryson, noted Dallas Cowboy fan, would tell you, and I'm sure will this afternoon if this, is he filling back in for Mark today? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
If he is, call him and ask him about it, because I'm curious as to his take.
Or don't. Why would you want to talk to that guy? I mean,
Love me some Cole Bryson. Love me some CB. So, Steven Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, during this free agency period, have done nothing to get better. Like nothing. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, a live look into the Dallas Cowboys front office during the free agency period.
Russia's about to flag us for crickets because they're American crickets.
I don't think
still nothing going on.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It's still nothing.
It's nothing.
We keep checking back in. They still not doing anything.
The Dallas Cowboys have decided largely to stand pat, to not do
Wait, I thought
anything.
he said they were all in or something.
Oh.
Some lame phrase.
Glad you brought that
I
up.
mean, who uses that? I mean, I'm on vacation next week.
Yeah,
I gotta get it out of me.
We know the senioritis is in full flare.
It still bothers me, even though I know that you're right. It still feels like a age crack. I don't know why.
The Dallas Cowboys were the only team in the National Football League to not sign anyone on Monday. It's okay, though. They fixed it on Tuesday by re-signing long snapper Trent Sieg. So that's good news.
Definitely a need, and good thing that they got him back under contract, because if they lost him.
I mean, what do you do without your long snapper?
Exactly.
What do you do without your long snapper? In order for the Cowboys to have any cap space to do anything in free agency, they have other pressing issues. They will need to renegotiate the contract of one Dak Prescott, one CeeDee Lamb, a first-team All-Pro wide receiver this year, because their cap hits are big this year. They've got Tyron Smith they got to deal with, Stephon Gilmore they got to deal with. Tony Pollard's not there anymore. They got to replace their running back one this year. And they, again, in case we weren't clear about it, during this free agency period, have done nothing. They got Eric Kendrick to sign. Like, that's the list. They were able to talk him out of signing with San Francisco and keep him on board in Dallas. Okay, super duper. Is that good enough? So, this is where this gets interesting. The fan base has been saying, yo, Jera, you told us that you were all in. You told us you were all in. That this was it. That this was going to be the year, as every other year is the year that them boys just ask him, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? How? And Jera and Steven have not done anything. So Steven yesterday said that the front office is, quote, very aware, end quote, of the frustration of Cowboys fans. And that when it comes to said frustration from Dallas Cowboys fans, Steven, and this is good news if you are a Dallas Cowboys fans, he said everybody has the right to be frustrated. Well, thanks, Steven. Thanks so much. I'm glad that Cowboys fans have permission to be frustrated with you and your ditty.
Missed a perfect opportunity. We just had 57 people on the stream and it went down.
Steven said, quote, I know where the frustration is. It's the fact that we haven't had success in the playoffs to their satisfaction. Until we do that, then the criticism is certainly something that's going to be there. We know that's going to be there, but we're going to stick with what we believe will ultimately get us a championship here for our fans. We don't define all in by what you spend in free agency. It's keeping the core together. This is the Al Davis effect in real life, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately for you, we have just learned that the Al Davis effect is a chronic genetic condition. Apparently, the Al Davis effect does not skip generations. It can be directly handed down. Am I right, Las Vegas Raiders fans? It's a genetic condition that can apparently be passed from at least father to son when it happens, because here's Steven saying, hey, I know that we haven't had playoff success in 30 plus years, 3 decades. I know that every year our fans are out there saying, we them boys. And we have done absolutely nothing to justify anyone believing that we are indeed dem boys. I get it. I understand it. And I'm sorry about that. But, and this is my favorite part, Lonzo, Steven said, we understand you're upset and we understand we haven't done a good enough job. So here's what we're going to do, Dallas. What we're going to do is the exact same thing we've been doing for the past 30 years that has generated no success and has gotten all of you so damn frustrated with us. That's what we're going to do. What we're going to change is everything on this list. Nothing. We're going to change nothing because, again, my daddy is Jerry Jones, the smartest man in football. And if you don't believe me, just ask him. He'll tell you, because Jerry has been doing just a chef's kiss, peachy job of free agency and signing and contracts and roster construction and coaching hires. He's been doing an excellent job. So excellent, in fact, that we ain't won a gosh darn thing in 3 decades. But now that I'm the executive vice president, the EVP of the game, I have decided, Dallas, we are going to do things not differently at all.
Have the Cowboy fans turned it yet and went, oh, see, we're ready now. We got it. We don't even need to go anywhere else because this team is ready. One more full year, the family together for an entire year. We're able to retain and keep everybody. Other teams, they lost players. We did not. We were able to keep our players, keep the family together. Look out.
My favorite part is that the team wasn't good enough last year, Steven. It wasn't good enough. You lost.
They were
again.
this close than Green Bay. That wasn't supposed.
Green Bay.
That wasn't supposed to happen. That Aaron. Wait, no. Aaron Rodgers was. That was Jordan Love. That guy who was like on the bench for a long time.
And don't get me wrong. Jordan Love got a lot better as the season went on last year. Nobody's here to bag on Jordan Love, but you, Dallas, went into that game, if I recall correctly, as a double-digit favorite at home. The fortress, baby. The spot where you guys put so much stake in the fact that no one can come to the Big D. And I do mean Dallas and walk away with a dub. And I do mean win. And then Green Bay came in, and this is true. They kicked your up and down the field. And then Steven is going to look the Dallas Cowboy fans in the face, and he's going to say, hey, I know you're upset. I know you're disappointed. I know it's been 3 decades plus since we've accomplished anything. But what we've decided is that we are going to, me and my daddy, who owns the team, we are going to change nothing at all. We're gonna change nothing at all. They re-signed cornerback Jordan Lewis, long snapper Trent Sieg, and agreed to terms with free agent linebacker Eric Kendricks. And that's it. That's it.
Wait, that's a move?
That's it.
They signed a free agent linebacker. That's a move.
Mm-hmm.
They did something.
Yeah, no, for sure. I got to tell you, last year when Green Bay was out there working the Cowboys on their own field, I thought to myself, my goodness, if only they signed somebody like Eric Kendricks, they would be a Super Bowl team this year. If that team wasn't good enough last year, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. CeeDee Lamb is a gangster. Tony Pollard was more than good enough out of the backfield. That offensive line was exceptional. The only question was Dak Prescott. I'll let you all decide independently if Dak's good enough or not. You know how I feel about it. Mike McCarthy is the head coach. Anybody want to switch? Actually, I would. I got Dennis Allen, but that's not the point. All right, it's not the point. Point here is Steven and Jera just went to Dallas fans and said, I know everything that we have done has been a failure. I know that everything that we have done has not worked, but trust me on this. We know ball better than you. We have decided to do and change nothing. Dallas fans, I want you to know that I revel in your misery. I bathe in your misery like a hot shower after a cold day. The sadness of Cowboys fans is like a cold shower beer after you're done cutting the grass. It's just the perfect thing. And you have no one that you owe more thanks to for me bathing in Cowboys tears than Jura And I would like to congratulate you because based on this quote, when Jera finally moves on, in whatever form that might take, Steven is waiting in the wings to be his daddy, to do the same things, to say the same things. But don't you worry, because they're all in, baby. Lols. Hey, something all in for the Sports Flash.
Well done. Well done. That was a Friday delivery. Lamont Paris had a good day yesterday. First, he reached an agreement with South Carolina for a contract extension that will keep him in Columbia through the 2029-2030 season, a salary of roughly $4 million a year. Then hours later, his Gamecocks knocked off Arkansas, them Razorbacks, 80-66. Carolina held just a 3-point lead at the half, but wore Arkansas out in second, creating 14 turnovers in the process. The Gamecocks move on to the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament and face Auburn later today. The Kansas City Chiefs got some help yesterday, signing Marquise Hollywood Brown to a one-year deal worth up to $11 million last season. Patrick Mahomes completed just 57% of his passes to receivers not named Rashee Rice, but three-peat. Yeah. Another 30 hours of Rob Brown show is coming up on the Fan Upstate. La 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 la. I am a real American. Russia hates that song. Haha. He enunciates so well. It's just beautiful. I wish I could do that. Did you see the Charlotte thing?
What?
The Charlotte thing that I sent you. Did you look at it?
I tried to plank not too long ago.
Why? Was it accidentally?
Just to see how long I could do it.
Did you fall on the ground and said, "Oh, I got down here on purpose. I'm planking"?
No, Courtney and I are doing our weight loss thing, and part of that is we got to work out 3 times a week. So she's doing like chair yoga and stuff at the house, And I
didn't know chair yoga was a thing. Okay.
So it's like yoga poses, but you use a chair to give yourself more leverage until you can do the full poses.
Okay.
So, and I've been going to the gym. So I was at the gym the other day, and there was a group of 4 young people in there working out, 2 guys and 2 girls, and they're all just super jacked. And they would do free weights, and then between their sets, they would plank, and they would hold it for 2 minutes at a time. And so I was like, screw it. Let me see how long I can hold a plank. And the answer is not real long.
So you planked at the gym?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have a big open room.
I know, but
yeah.
People might be watching you and you're okay.
I'm at the gym. If I'm at the gym, I could give a damn less.
Yeah, but you're Rob Brown.
I go without sleeves in the gym. I go full Bill Belichick at the gym.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Man, gun show. Look out.
It's really not that impressive.
Are there other people your age at the gym, Rob?
Yeah, I go to Planet Fitness for that exact reason. Because at Planet Fitness, all due respect to Planet Fitness, their whole shtick is, if you're out of shape, this is where you come start your journey. Because you're not going to go in there and see a bunch of dudes in spaghetti.
You should go across the street. You see how busy that place is before we get here? You probably haven't noticed. There's a place across the street that
dude,
the whole parking lot is full in the morning. I'm like,
yeah,
Man,
Planet
what are they
Fitness,
doing?
You can log into their app and you can see how busy they are because when people clock in, it puts it on a little counter. So you can know, like, if I open it and it's 100% busy, there's no point in going. And I've checked it in the mornings just because when I started this, I'm like, what if I got to the gym at like 4 a.m. and did a workout before the show? Which was a thought I had for about 3 minutes. But I checked it one day at 5 a.m. and it was like 90% full. And I was like, golly. People who work out in the mornings both inspire and terrify me at the same time.
I'm
How do you do it?
I'm seriously considering it, but I mean, just because I make too much noise at home, and well, I mean, when even if you're just on the treadmill, I mean, unless you have a really large house and you can put that far in the distance, you're going to wake somebody up. So
I don't. My alarm goes off at 3:30 in the morning. And I have tried, but just cannot comprehend. And good on you guys for having discipline and work ethic, etc. That thing can hit at 3:30 and you pop up out of bed ready to throw on some yoga pants and get it.
I think I got a better shot at doing that than I do doing it after the show. I just don't have as much motivation after we're done because this show, believe it or not, it takes a lot out of you.
It does.
It's like performing on stage or something. You lose, the adrenaline drops off when you're done and you instantly go, you know what? I would love to take a nap right now.
For sure. Lonzo fell asleep yesterday editing sound after the show.
No, that never happened. What are you doing?
Literally said something and he goes,
he's up.
I was napping.
He's up and he's no.
All right. It is just after 7 o'clock in the morning. You, friends, if you have a regular 8 to 5er, are less than an hour away from getting your day started. You're going to head to the office. You're going to punch in. You're going to respond to those passive-aggressive emails that your boss and coworkers were sending around last night as if you had any interest at all in working off the clock. And after you're done doing that, after you've responded to those emails, you're going to go, screw this. I want a break. And you're going to walk down that hallway. And you're going to gather around the water cooler with your coworkers and you're going to talk sports. And if you're going to gather around that water cooler and talk sports, you're going to need to know what's going on. And that's why we do this.
No kind of saying it's you're wrong.
Something's wrong with his medulla oblongata.
Just been waiting for you to tell me I was wrong all week. And you never told me once because I ain't been wrong all week. So I ain't had to play that clip.
Should I read the last text that you sent me yesterday? I can.
I don't recall sending it.
You don't?
Are you already busting me out for the supposed sleep thing, which may or may not have happened?
You were right. I was wrong. You are smart. I are dumb.
Yeah, I was loosely quoting Adam Sandler.
Regardless of why it was
as he was talking to Chubbs.
Oh, Chubbs.
No kind of saying it's you're wrong.
Rip, Chubbs. Rip. It's your water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you go start talking sports around the office with your coworkers, maybe friends, at the least work proximity associates, as Ron Swanson would say. Let us dive right in, ladies and gentlemen, with item numero uno. 'Twas a wonderful day yesterday.
'Twas.
If you were Lamont Paris. Not only did you begin the day by getting the bag, South Carolina made the big smart boy decision when they signed Lamont to a contract extension that will carry him through the 2029-2030 season at a salary of about $4 million a year, though please do not be surprised if that is reworked for more money sometime down the line. Whether or not he gets the title officially, Lamont Paris is the 2023-24 National Coach of the Year, and I don't think that I am telling you anything you don't already know if you've been following this team in any way, shape, or form. Lamont did a real good job. The narrative has been, and this is shocking to precisely and exactly nobody, this team was projected to finish dead last in the Southeastern Conference. Instead, they checked in a four-way tie for second place and are still alive in the Southeastern Conference Men's Basketball Championship Tournament. Why? Because after he got the bag yesterday, Lamont and his Gamecocks just flat out wore out the Arkansas Razorbacks yesterday afternoon. The dub secured by South Carolina 80-66 in a game that wasn't that close. I mean, it was at halftime when the Gamecocks were up 3. They trailed for a majority of the first half, but then the second half started and South Carolina pulled away and South Carolina stayed away after that point. They were able to put down the Woo Pig Sueys and keep them down. Look, that's a good Arkansas program run by Mr. Muscle Man, who South Carolina, with that dub, handed his first sub-500 season of his career. It was a real good showing for South Carolina. So, they are alive. They move on. They play today. Who do they play today? Pray tell. That, of course, would be the Auburn Tigers. You may remember that Auburn Tiger football team, my dear South Carolina friends, and you may remember that Auburn Tiger basketball team because it was not nary a month and a half ago that Auburn beat you by 40 at their house. Now, the good news, if there is any, is that game was in the jungle. That game was down in Opelika, Alabama. And that is a ridiculously difficult place to go play basketball. They are real loud down on the plains. And this game is not there. This game, obviously, over in Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know how well the Gamecock faithful have or will travel for a Friday night quarterfinal matchup. I hope very well. I know the Woo Pig Suey fans had good representation, and I will tell you, my dearly beloved Gamecock friends, Auburn travels exceptionally well. So it's going to be real interesting, but a good day for Lamont Paris and the Gamecock basketball program. He is locked up through the end of the decade, and you have moved on to the quarterfinals. Let's get to segment number 2. Kirk Cousins introduced himself to the Atlanta faithful yesterday. And it was very, very interesting. He did a press conference where he came out in his very sharp suit and red and black Jordans to boot, the tan suit with the Atlanta Falcons red tie, all very interesting. But during the presser, Kirk Cousins said this.
It's not just the football team. I mean, I'm looking at the support staff yesterday, calling our head athletic trainer, talking to our head of PR. I'm thinking we got good people here, and that's exciting to be a part of. It's not.
Now, that doesn't sound like all that big of a deal, right? Doesn't sound like all that big of a deal. Kirk said on Wednesday night that he spoke with Falcons head athletic trainer and head of public relations yesterday. If he made these comments on Wednesday, which he did apparently, yesterday would be Tuesday. Tuesday was before the beginning of the league new year. Before the beginning of the league new year, players would be prohibited from speaking with official staff and administration of other teams. That means that if Kirk Cousins' little anecdote was true and accurate, great one, that the Atlanta Falcons could rightfully be accused of and potentially punished for tampering. And the NFL has indeed officially opened up an investigation into the Atlanta Falcons for tampering. Cousins said Wednesday, quote, "There's great people here, and it's not just the football team. I mean, I'm looking at the support staff, calling yesterday, calling our head athletic trainer, talking to our head of PR. I'm thinking we got good people here, and that's exciting to be a part of." Well, Kirk Cousins would not have been permitted to speak to anyone before 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Wednesday. The Falcons said in a statement, quote, "Due to the NFL's review, we are unable to provide information or have additional comments." Vikings general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah was asked if he had any communication with the league on the tampering investigation. He said, quote, "That's kind of above our fray here. I've just been busy trying to work on the roster. I'm not aware of any of that stuff." Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell suggested last week in an interview with NFL Network that the market for Cousins grew with the league scouting combine. And he said, quote, "I think the combine just kind of gave everybody else an opportunity, even whether they're supposed to or not, to maybe have some conversations." Of course, we have the whole thing with James Franklin going on right now. Penn State coach James Franklin told a reporter that Eagles GM Howie Roseman spoke to Saquon Barkley and pitched him on the connection between the Eagles and the Nittany Lions fan bases at a point in time when he was not supposed to be talking to him either. James Franklin did not make the accusation of tampering. He more told a little story that, if true, would be tampering. So the Falcons are indeed going to go under an NFL investigation for potentially tampering with Kirk Cousins. We'll keep an eye on how that investigation plays out. Finally, let us get to item number 3. This is a real good sports weekend, you guys. Listen to the sketty we got. We have your Atlantic Coast Conference basketball men's championship tournament semifinals tonight. Then we have the SEC men's basketball conference tournament quarterfinals tonight. We also have college basketball conference semis and quarters around the country, if you're like me and can't get enough shooty hoops in your life. Then tomorrow we have basketball all day. We have conference championships. We have conference semifinals. It is going to be a big day, plus a very good MLS slate if you're into the footy. Then on Sunday, real busy day. Oh, by the way, baseball spring training happening everywhere if that happens to be your bag. Then on Sunday, we have your conference tournament finals for everybody else on Sunday. We have the NASCAR race at Bristol on Sunday. We have the final round at Indian Lakes if you're a tennis gal or guy. We have what's the one I'm blanking on now? We got NASCAR. The TPC at Sawgrass, the final round of the probably 4th biggest golf tournament of the year is taking place on Sunday. Sunday going to be a spectacular sports day. And we're going to break all those things down. I know that that's not necessarily news. I know that I'm not necessarily giving you a ton of information. It's more letting you know that when you get around that water cooler today, you can talk about actual sports today. You can talk about actual athletic competition that is actually happening coming up this weekend. We will break down the Bristol race. coming up later on in the show, because I've gotten multiple messages over the last couple of days from people that have said, Rob, I happen to know that you're a NASCAR guy. Why don't we get more NASCAR on the show? Don't worry, consider that problem fixed. We'll get to the Bristol race later in the day. I've got some odds, some drivers to watch, and we're not doing dirt at Bristol this year. Why not? Don't worry. I'm going to answer that question for you coming up later on in the radio broadcast. We've got the TPC at Sawgrass, which I would like to get into because Rory McIlroy, who, to be quite honest with you, I think has been doing a pretty good job over the last couple of months at not so much being the bulldog that's going after the Live Tour, but more importantly is being, I think, a voice of the fans at a point in time in sports where I think the fans need more of a voice. There was also a little drama at the TPC Sawgrass yesterday, was actually specifically with a Rory McIlroy ball drop that took place after a hazard. Yet, Rory notched 10 birdies across 18 holes yesterday. That is, and I looked it up, really good. That's really good for Rory McIlroy. So we'll get some golf later on in the show. All right. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, let's talk about this college football story, because it does appear, my dear friends, that some point later on today, we are all going to be hearing about a major deal being signed for the college football playoff. What do we know about it? What are the details of it? We're going to break that down when we come back. Rob Alonso and you, the Rob Brown Show, rolls on after this. It is the Fan Upstate. Rashad, but unfortunately no Mario. There have been some staff changes at the BetQL network, and Mario's picked up some extra work for a couple of days.
Good, I guess?
No, not good. I mean, good for Mario that they trust him, but
I was going to say he gets paid more, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I meant. Good as far as pay goes.
Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking about lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. It's a fact. QC Kinetics is literally transforming lives. Their advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for decades, but now this life-changing treatment is available for you. So you can walk and run and climb stairs and play golf and move again. Pain-free. No pills, no risky surgery. This is an all-natural solution. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients who have reclaimed their mobility. Take action now and live your best life this spring and summer. It's a great use of your tax refund check, by the way. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're at 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772 in Greenville and Asheville. 864-448-3772.
The event, 5 decades in the making. Crane's Clearwater Revival's John Fogerty, the Celebration Tour. John Fogerty with special guests George Thorogood and the Destroyers and Hardy Har. Sunday, June 2nd, CCNB Amphitheater, Simpsonville. Tickets on sale Friday at LiveNation.com.
rolling on the river. How old do I think George Thorogood? I'm just going to say in his 70s because everybody else is. George Thorogood is 74. Everybody I've seen and will see this year is 74, maybe including Creed. I can't prove they're not. Can't wait for Creed. Can't wait for Creed. I try not to get
Creed's
like
just a little bit older than you, right?
Creed is like 2-3 years older than me.
Yeah.
Actually, so Brian Marshall is. Scott Stapp might be a little older than him. Stapp is 50. So is Brian Marshall. So they're all a dozen years older than me. I thought we were closer than that. Guess not.
So they're halfway between me and you. Well, no.
No, I mean
They're closer to
they're
me.
closer to you than me. Yeah, they got me by a dozen years.
In-depth team coverage from the biggest sports radio stations across the country. Exclusive interviews with players, managers, and MLB insiders, and podcasts dedicated to your favorite team. Listen live to the latest breaking news from around the league.
Look at that, up over 100. At 720.
Oh, yeah.
Download it today. AUDACY.
And welcome to all the noobs who have joined us here. This is real interesting. The breakdown of where they're watching from. My Twitter and the Fan Upstate's Twitter are about even.
Coming up on a Friday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. What's the best and worst case scenario for Clemson and South?
When I get back, if the surge is still going on, I want to try going with my Twitter over my Facebook. Since my Twitter is surging somewhere else, will it also surge here?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Combined forces. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Rob and Alonzo with you. As we mentioned earlier in the show, Pete Thamel and Heather Dinich are currently reporting that a deal could be struck today between the College Football Playoff Committee, ESPN, and the schools themselves that those entities represent in order to get this new deal done. The holdouts, as we have mentioned, included and were primarily driven by the Atlantic Coast Conference and the Big 12. And of course, why wouldn't they be? They're about to watch their counterparts, the Power 2, get like oodles and oodles and oodles of money. Whereas they would just get the one oodle of money.
You don't want this one oodle.
You don't want one oodle when everybody else is getting multiple oodles.
Yeah, one oodle is not enough.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have multiple oodles. And so the holdouts of the ACC and the Big 12, they basically said, "Hey, we're not signing anything until we end up in a spot where we feel like we are getting a fair share of this gigantic pie." Well, something changed because according to Thamel and Dinich, that contract could be signed as early as today. It sets the stage for the expected 14-team playoff to start in the 2026 college football season. That is the expectation as of right this moment in time. And the new agreement will codify the further financial separation of the expanded Big Ten and SEC from everyone else. The group of 5 commissioners have been in a difficult position without any negotiating power at all, but sources indicate they won't choose being excluded from the CFP. That sentence is very interesting to me. So I feel like that's a throwaway sentence that we probably need to spend a lot more time on. The thought is the group of 5 teams, conferences, commissioners, were not super-de-duper thrilled about the deal that was placed on the table, but basically feel as if they don't go along with it, they feel like they would be outright excluded from the college football playoff in the future, which tells me there's some hardball being played at this table. Dinich and Thamel in the article that they have up on ESPN right now said, quote, "It's like the Godfather's offer you can't refuse," one Group of 5 athletic director told ESPN on Thursday. Here's the deal. Boise State. You come to me on this, the day of my daughter's wedding. You either in or you out. There's no question here. You see, there's a lot of money at the table. And if you would like to partake in this money, you're certainly more than welcome to. We would love for you to be a part of what we're building here in the college football playoffs. But to think that you should get an equal cut with us, the Southeastern Conference, the Big Ten Conference, the two families, crazy. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go home. You're going to think about that. To your beautiful home, by the way. Be a real shame if something happened to it. You're going to go home. You're going to talk amongst yourselves. And you're going to realize that what we're offering you is very generous. Very generous. Okay, I can't do it anymore. All right, so apparently the Group of 5 teams feel like
A very nice home.
be a real shame if something happened to it, huh? I'm just going to go ahead and say I am part of the D'Angelo family. I've earned it. I've earned it.
You have a nice suit, though.
I got a nice suit.
Okay.
Both luxury and track.
You never know when you're going to need one or the other.
Taking a lot of walks down this bridge. And all right, stop it. You're being dumb, Rob. So the insinuation here is that if these schools did not agree to the college football playoff plan as was presented by the power conferences, that the power conferences would basically say, "Hey, sucks to be you, huh? It's too bad. You could have been a part of something special." And they would have walked them out. My dudes, my dudettes, my friends, my families, my colleagues, my comrades, welcome to the new age of college football. If you are, and I mean this from the depths of what little soul I have remaining, I mean this. If you, in any way, shape, or form over the past, let's say 2 years or so, have been complaining that the players have too much power in the current model because they can transfer or because they can get money. If you have been complaining the players have too much power, I hope you've got the same energy towards two conferences that, am I reading into this a little heavy? Maybe, maybe not. But two conferences that, if this sentence and this quote from a Group of 5 AD is accurate, basically just told everybody who's not them, hey, you're in or you're out. There's $1.3+ billion on the table. And when we divide it up, we're going to do the old 1 for me, 1 for you, 1, 2 for me, 2 for you, 1, 2, 3 for me, 3 for you model of distribution. And you have two options here. You can come to the table and literally play ball with us, and you can take 63 teams and Notre Dame belonging to the Group of 5. You may split up $110 million between the 64 of you, while the schools in the SEC and the schools in the Big Ten all split around $700 million between each other. Hey, ACC, hey, Big 12, you can take your $300 million and be happy while we take $700 million. Or, and hear me out on this, you can just not play. Or you can go do your own thing. You can go start your own adorable little Rise Up League. Good luck. Well, let us know if you get a Kickstarter going. Hit us with that Venmo account. Maybe we'll drop a couple of bucks on you. This is, like I said, if you have been bringing the energy to the table that the players have too much power, that the fact that they can earn NIL and they can transfer is just ruining college football because the players now have too much power, I hope you speak with the same chest when you talk about this. The fact that the SEC and the Big Ten have basically just said, my dudes and my dudettes, we're all that matters. We're all that matters. If you want to do something that doesn't involve us, good luck. We are going to take the lion's share of the revenue, and the rest of you can split up whatever scraps are left. We wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. I don't know, man. There's just on one hand, great one, there's something here that I go, hey, I understand. That's the way the world works, right? He who hath the gold maketh the rules. We have had that conversation in the past. He who has the gold makes the rules. But it doesn't mean it doesn't kind of feel a little gross, right? Like a little gross. Like if this deal was more along the lines of we're going to get $650 million to split between our two conferences, and you guys are going to get $650 million to split between your 64 teams. By the way, when I say 650, I mean per conference, not between the two conferences. I mean, the Big Ten gets that much, the SEC that gets that much. If they were to say, hypothetically, we're going to take this much, and you're going to get the same amount, you're just going to have to split it up between twice as many schools, even that, I think I would look at and go, all right. Like, all right, I don't love it. It's not my favorite thing, but I get it because the biggest brands and the biggest money makers are definitely within those two conferences. But it's just, it's.
So how do you get out? If you're Clemson, if you're Florida State, how do you get out of your conference so you can be a part of the other place where you're going to get more money?
That is literally the question Florida State's asking in court right now. We got a hearing coming up in a couple of weeks, somewhere between a couple of weeks and a month. We got multiple hearings, one in North Carolina and one in Tallahassee. But we have got multiple hearings about to take place where Florida State's trying to figure that out. And as we talked about back on Monday with John Blau of the Post-Courier, who covers Clemson athletics for that outlet, we asked him the same thing because the rumor going around is something's going down. That's the Eagles down in Clemson, South Carolina, where the Clemson Tigers may have activated their legal army to get involved in this, right? Now, I've been telling you for a while, there is not a doubt in my brain, and I have had some level of conversations that this is not new information, but that Clemson's been very closely paying attention and been having quiet internal conversations amongst themselves, basically to be prepared to respond to whatever the result is of the legal proceedings, not lawsuits yet, but the legal proceedings taking place between the Atlantic Coast Conference and Florida State. That has been something that's been happening for a while. Clemson's got a bunch of attorneys, and they're like, okay, how are we going to handle it if we get to this point? And the thought now is that because of the direction this whole thing is going in, Clemson may be activating those attorneys sooner rather than later and getting them prepared to jump in, which tells me that at least to some degree, somebody thinks that Florida State's got a chance here. Because as I mentioned a couple of times, if you're Clemson, the smart move is to hang back, which is what I said when this whole thing started. And when I say Clemson, I mean everybody else in the conference. The smart move is to hang back and let Florida State go through the motions. Because if Florida State wins, the good news for you is you just get to benefit from that. But if Florida State loses, and this is what I'm very interested to see if it happens. If Florida State loses, my question becomes, is there pushback? Does the Atlantic Coast Conference have some sort of repercussions lined up for FSU in the future? You know how sometimes at work, you got to go to those meetings where the manager and the manager's manager are like, if you see or hear or see anything inappropriate in the office, feel free to immediately come to us with those concerns. And you're like, no, I'm not doing that because I know you. And I know if I say to you, this dude that manages me did something wrong, then that guy's going to fire back at me, but he's going to do it in a way that I can't prove he's doing it. Is there that for the ACC? So if you're Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, basically everybody but Florida State, that wants out because not everybody's going to want out. Syracuse doesn't want out. Wake Forest or Boston College doesn't want out.
If you're the ACC, you look at what happened with the Pac-12, and you're finding lawyers that you didn't know you had, trying to get them to help you to hang on to Florida State and Clemson.
Oh, of course you do. Listen, the ACC, the reason that they are pulling, one of the hearings we're going to hear in April is the ACC arguing to federal judges that this whole thing should be obligated to be played out in North Carolina. Why? Because they're going to get more friendly treatment in North Carolina than they are in Tallahassee, Florida. Because as much as we do our best to remove bias and subjectivity from the legal and court and justice systems, they are full of it.
Come on. No, they're not. It's an equal justice system here in the United States of America.
That's why the ACC wants this whole thing done in North Carolina. So if, again, this is why I've been saying the entire time, if you are Clemson, North Carolina, Duke, Miami, you let Florida State take all of the heat so that if they lose this thing and there are repercussions from the ACC back on the schools we are talking about, they fall predominantly on the Noles and not back on you. And that's the smart way to handle it. But apparently there's something going on because there are multiple outlets now that are reporting that Clemson may be activating their attorneys sometime in the near future. And my bet is they are going to make the argument with this contract being signed and with the amount of money that now even the group of five, the guys that are being screwed the hardest by this deal, when they are signing on to this, basically what's being said here is there's too much power and there's too much money behind the groups, the entities that are organizing and executing this contract that we can't fight back. And my bet is FSU and Clemson are going to make the argument to a federal judge that, hey, look, had the ACC negotiated better in the past, had the ACC done a better job in years gone by of orchestrating and organizing their contracts, we could have been a part of that. But now because they screwed the pooch 6 years ago, because Swofford and Co. decided to go the Nepo baby route a few years ago and we didn't do a great deal, now we are losing out on, and this is not an exaggeration, hundreds of millions of dollars starting in 2026. And you're telling us that we've got to live under this contract for another decade. That's untenable. We can't survive that long being that hard pressed, that hard strapped for cash. You got to fix this.
So if you were betting on this, what's your gut tell you? Will they get out and how soon? How many years will this take?
To be honest with you, dude, I have no freaking idea. I don't. I want to be a better radio host than that. I could make something up. I could cite sources. I was
going to say, I could find some sources down the hall or something. I mean,
I could cite sources here and go, oh, I've been told. I haven't been told anything because nobody knows. We don't know what the courts are going to say. We don't know where the lawsuits are going to happen yet. We don't know if there are going to be lawsuits, and if there are lawsuits, we don't know where those lawsuits are going to take place. Are they going to take place down in Florida, where FSU is hoping that they might stumble onto a friendly judge? Are they going to take place in North Carolina, where the contract was ultimately signed and executed, where the ACC might have a more friendly court space and home court advantage, literally home court advantage? I don't know the answer to these things. And so therefore, anybody who says, oh, this is likely the direction we're going in, make them give you something deeper than this is what I've been told, because I don't know. Because I don't understand. I don't know. If Clemson is getting at this point involved, and from what we understand they are, if they have decided that they are going to activate their attorneys and those attorneys are going to link arms with Florida State's attorneys, that leads me to guess, and I will 100% say it is nothing more than a guess, but that leads me to speculate that they see something. They see some sort of, either they see some sort of momentum, or, and again, speculation from an idiot, they are basically heaving a Hail Mary here, right? They saw this contract coming. They saw this $1.3 billion in a contract that is heavily slanted towards the Big Ten and the SEC. They recognize that if this court case is not won, they realize that if the ACC wins this thing, teams in the Big Ten and the SEC are, over the life of the whole thing, going to be making millions, like tens of millions more dollars than they are. I think they recognize that if they don't pull the trigger now, and if this lawsuit that Florida State is going to bring to the table doesn't succeed, you are looking at 10 years where South Carolina is making 3 times the money that you are. See, because the other thing about this, I think, is I'll be willing to bet this deal that they're going to sign is going to be for a few years, but I'll bet you the deal the CFP and ESPN signed today, I'd be willing to bet it is fewer years of activation than the ACC's current grant of rights, which is another decade, 2036, right? So they're going to look at this and go for the next however many years that CFP contract is. We're going to be trailing South Carolina in dollars roughly 3-1. And if this contract is good and that 1.3 billion with a B dollars makes ESPN profit down the line, then the next contract is going to be valued at more. And we could end up for 7, 5, 3, however many years, we could end up getting outproduced dollar-wise by South Carolina by 4-1, 5-1 when it comes to TV distribution revenue. That's untenable. We cannot survive that. That will not work. And so I think because of that, that is likely the reason that, again, and we asked John Blau about this earlier in the week, and he said this isn't new news, but it also is new news. It's not new that these lawyers have been working. It is new that they may actually hit the front lines soon. To me, this contract that Dinich and Thamel are saying is likely to be signed today, this would be the reason they are doing that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Your thoughts are welcome on the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663. That's 844-FANFONE. Text us on the text line, 71307. Start your text with FAN, FAN. I would like your thoughts on all of this. The big two bullying the group of 5, giving them an offer they can't refuse, like they can't or they go away. What do y'all want to get to? It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate.
2 minutes. 2.
Are you going?
I was going to go right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, stream. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Give me 1 minute. Zach, good morning, buddy. Trey, welcome in. Kevin, good to have you all. And all you lurkers in the background watching but saying nothing.
You ain't lurkers. You don't need to talk. We're glad you're here.
The heist of the century, ladies and gentlemen. And no, I am not talking about Brian Burns for a 5th round pick. I am talking about the fact that last night, the Pittsburgh Penguins were set to do Jaromir Jagr night, one of the greatest hockey players of all time. The Penguins have been doing a month.
It's Jagr, not Jaeger, by the way.
It's
It's Jagr. Yeah, I just, I don't know where your head is. I'm kind of guessing, but.
Set to do a month-long celebration that included last night handing out bobbleheads of the franchise legend ahead of their game against the San Jose Sharks. However, they had to cancel bobblehead night. Why'd they have to cancel bobblehead night? Because somebody stole the truck that the entire shipment of bobbleheads was in. According to a news report, quote, the Penguins learned that they were victims of cargo theft after failing to receive the shipment as scheduled. The team worked with the manufacturer and transportation companies to alert the appropriate state and federal authorities who are currently working to locate the cargo. This is an open investigation and no further comment will be made in order to not hamper with the recovery of the goods. Penguins president of business operations, Kevin Acklin, said, quote, we were shocked to be a victim of cargo theft, and we are working closely with local and federal authorities on the investigation. While this unfortunate incident adds to the legend of Jaromir Jagr, who will be in attendance as our guest at tonight's game, we look forward to resolving this theft and delivering the prize Jagr bobbleheads to the rightful homes of our fans. The Penguins did send out a tweet that said hashtag Jagr Watch. And featured the legend strapping the only Jagr bobblehead apparently that made it to the building into the driver's seat of his car. Jaromir Jagr sent out a tweet that said missing something to the tune of missing a few bobbleheads, about 18,000 of them. Anybody seen them? Here's my question. Did the thieves know that they were stealing 18,000 identical bobbleheads, or did they want to steal 18,000 identical bobbleheads?
There's some crony, some underling working for somebody who stole that whole thing, who's getting smacked around by his boss right now. What are we going to do with this? The bobbleheads. What are we going to do?
How you expect me to move 18,000 bobbleheads, huh?
Yeah, I mean, do you sell them on eBay? I mean, what do you do with that?
I got to tell you, I would buy a stolen Jaromir Jagr.
Oh, come on.
I would.
Come on.
I would hit up the fence. All right. I would hit up the fence for a one of 18,000 stolen Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads. That's beyond incredible.
It's in a shipyard somewhere owned by some nefarious organization. They can't move them. It's just going to sit there for a while. It'll get uncovered, like 30 years from now or something.
18,000 bobbleheads. Listen, here's the deal. I would like to point out that the San Jose Sharks out of the Western Conference are bad at hockey. Like, they're real bad at hockey. They're 16-42. They have 39 points compared to the 92 the Canucks have right now. The Penguins ain't much better. They are 29-27. They have 67 points behind the 90 that the Metro Division leading New York Rangers have right now. 94 for the Florida Panthers, who have the highest total in the league. The Canucks second with 92. The Avs have 89 out of the Central. These are two bad hockey teams. The only reason you buy a ticket to Sharks Penguins is to acquire a Jaromir Jagr bobblehead. That is the only reason that you go to that game. And instead, 18,000. Listen, this is a story, Zoe, that should not be funny, but it's freaking hilarious, dude. It's hysterical.
I really do feel bad for whoever stole it. Because what can you do with that? I mean, you'll get more money out of selling the truck than you will what's in the truck.
If you told me that this was like the plot to an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I'd believe you. The gang steals Flyers bobbleheads, I'd believe you. The episode where Charlie thinks he has garnered just the greatest prize ever, and then the gang goes out to try to sell 18,000 bobbleheads but keep it under the radar. I would believe you that this was an episode of Always Sunny. When I saw this yesterday, I thought to myself, like, what's the move here for the guy who stole 18,000 bobbleheads? What's the next? All right, there's an episode of The Sopranos, which I watched for the first time not terribly long ago. There's an episode of The Sopranos where a couple of the underlings are trying to impress Tony. So they go steal a truck, and it turns out the truck's got like 5,000 Italian suits. The problem is the truck's owned by another boss of another family, you know? And Tony's like, you idiots, you got to bring this truck back. That's the only thought I had. There's some New Jersey mob guy right now talking to some underling who thought he just pulled off the heist of the century. He just impressed the boss. There's no doubt he's getting moved up to consigliere like today. And the boss cranks open the back of the truck and he's like, hey, yo, what am I going to do with 18,000 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads, dude?
Maybe they have a bobblehead chop shop. You cut that head off, throw another head on there. Look out.
He's wearing a Penguins jersey with his name on it.
Creative paint.
What are you going to do?
Creative paint.
Okay, now you got to paint 18,000 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads that, by the way, still look like Jaromir Jagr.
I told you. I mean, you chop shop. Take that head off, put another head on there, do a little painting. And you know what? You don't have to move all 18,000 at once. Move 10, 20, maybe 50 here and there.
I just got this image of like this dude walking down an alley. And he opens his trench coat up, and he's got like 50 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads hanging off the inside of it. Hey, I got some good stuff here. Like Rolexes? He's like, no, Jagr bobbleheads. You want one? You got to keep it on the DL. You're not a cop, are you? You got to tell me if you're a cop.
We got Jaromir under here. Here you go.
Just a trench coat full of Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads.
And he throws the coat open a certain way so all the heads bobble at the same time. Yeah.
What a dumb, like, what are we? Okay. Yes or no? The thief knew what he was doing here. Like, he stole a truck. Did he steal the truck because he knew it was full of Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads? Or did he steal the truck because he was like, I don't know what's in this truck, but it's a big truck. There's got to be something good in here.
I'm going to go real conspiracy here and say that they forgot to order them, and so they made this up.
They spun this yarn.
Yeah, to make it look like, and suddenly they'll appear because now the guy who forgot to order them is like, oh no, so he orders, and suddenly they'll show up anonymously. It was left at the stadium. They don't know where the trailer came from. It's just there, and it's full of the bobbleheads.
Some poor intern in the Pirates organization. The Prez calls him into the office and he's like, hey, Jim, how'd those Jagr bobbleheads turn out? And Jim's like, oh, they got stolen. Didn't you hear? They got stolen. The truck got stolen. Boss is like, dude, it's Jaromir Jagr bobblehead. night tonight, Jim. I know, boss. I'm just as torn up as you are. Let me make some phone calls. Hey, Greg, it's Jim. Greg, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go down to the dock and just steal a truck. Doesn't matter what, just pick a truck and steal it and like drive it off a bridge right now. Listen, I don't care. I will pay your bail. Go steal a truck. Jim, why am I stealing a truck, Jim? Greg, I will explain later. Go steal one truck. I don't care. Make sure it's a truck that would fit 18,000 bobbleheads in it. 18,000 bobbleheads. Jim, that's a real unique quantity of bobbleheads and measurement of cargo. Stop asking questions. Go steal the truck. Hey, Jim, any update on those stolen bobbleheads? Jim, did he just say stolen bobble? Click.
But Greg is Jim's boy, so he went and stole the truck. And
100% he did it.
Yeah, he did it.
100% he did it. 100% Greg came through for Jim, and that's why we're sitting here having a conversation about Bobblehead Watch 2024. Where are the bobbleheads? Oh, somebody just made the best theory. Lonzo, Gritty stole them. Gritty stole them.
Could be.
Gritty stole a truck full of Sports Flash.
All right, let's jump into some college basketball. In the ACC, North Carolina demolished Florida State 92-67. The Hills held FSU to only 22 rebounds and will square off with Pittsburgh tonight at 7 after the Panthers finish Wake Forest 81-69. North Carolina State upset Duke 74-69 thanks to the Blue Devils scoring 0 bench points in the game. The Wolfpack will face Virginia, who got past Boston College 66-60. We don't know who he'll be catching footballs from, but Chicago Bears acquired former Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen from LA yesterday. The 31-year-old has 6 Pro Bowl appearances and is coming off of 108 catch, 12+ 100-yard season. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. Oh, by the way, the Chiefs got Hollywood Brown. I don't need to go into detail, but 3 peats. Make sure you stay tuned. Another sturdy hour coming up on the Fan Upstate. True, Stephen. Very true. And I will be spending my entire vacation honing my reading skills to get better. Or there's a thing where I don't know. There's a thing where I may have already peaked, like 2.5 weeks ago. Like a Wednesday read was like the best that I'll ever do.
Gritty already posted the GIF from Game of Thrones. Tell Cersei I wanted to know it was me.
What if it's all work, Rob? What if it's all work?
I hope it was Jim. I hope Jim forgot to order the bobbleheads.
I mean, not that we have ever had discussions about, oh, crap, Rob, I forgot to do that. How do I mean, he's going to be expecting this to be done, and I didn't do it. How do I And, you know,
Nope.
then we bring Chris in and the brain trust happens. And then we find a way around, not that, you know, if the bosses
Not
listen
us.
that we ever did that.
Not
It's
us.
definitely a hypothetical.
For sure. We don't forget things. Forget to order 18,000 Yerma Yaga bobbleheads.
And then they bring Jim out when they finally get them there in front of the entire arena to apologize. Extremely sorry. That's true, Trey.
Yes,
That
it
happens
is.
a lot.
We've got a friend it's happened to.
Got to keep those trailers under surveillance. Just bring everything into your house, I guess.
Yeah, when our band plays shows, everything, nothing stays in a truck.
Or travel around with the jankiest looking thing that looks, you know, that's been painted with the wrong colors and everything, where people go, it ain't nothing good in that thing. And they just go past it. Camouflage it with poor. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah!
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah!
Here we go. The 8 o'clock hour of the Rob Brown radio program goes now. Welcome back, my friends. Rob and the great one, Lonzo, with you on a Friday. Lonzo's feeling good. It's his last day before vacation next week.
Well, last day on this station, but still.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Last day on this show before his vacation next week. Still got the Upstate Pulse, which airs on 98.9 WORD every Saturday from 7 to 9. It is the nerd pop culture show of choice.
Yeah, tune in to see if Tinkerbell continues.
What's the so the they're doing the March Madness bracket on the Upstate Pulse right now. It is sidekicks. Animated, all animated sidekicks.
Comic book, animated, and animated movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Lonzo was, I don't know why, surprised by the fact that Tinkerbell is just ramrodding the conversation, the rivalry.
It's just not what when you put these things together, you kind of have an idea of who you think's going to make it through. Harley Quinn's already been eliminated. There's been some people eliminated that I didn't think would be gone this early. And that's much like what will happen, next week when the tournament starts. There's going to be some teams that you think, oh yeah, they've got this. You have them on your bracket. You know that you're winning it this year, and then they're out in the first round.
Upsets are upsets for a reason, dudes.
They definitely are.
They happen.
Well, and with our wonderful tie-breaking system, sometimes
Stupid-ass
things
tie-breaking
happen.
system.
Well,
Worst tie-breaking system in the game.
I believe that may be why Tinkerbell has moved forward, because if I put out there that I have disdain towards something, people are automatically going to vote to try to make sure that goes through. So, she could win it all. She could.
The haters. They like to drink their haterade and eat their hater tots.
My money's on Boo Boo Bear, but that's me.
That feels like a long shot to me.
Or Barney Rubble. Barney Rubble's a good, come on.
Barney's a good pick.
Yeah, Barney's he made Fred's car go faster. That's all I'm saying. You bring Barney along, you're going twice as fast.
And he brought Betty to the conversation.
Yeah.
Like Betty Rubble's where it's at. All right. We got to get some sports here on the Sports Talk Radio Show. It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate. Let's do just that. Lamont Paris signs on to stay with the South Carolina Gamecock basketball program through the end of the 2029 season.
Hey, Rob, why couldn't Frank Martin do this?
I'm going to tell you right now. Lamont Paris has been an absolute megastar during this run at the Southeastern Conference tournament. He is every day that I've been watching between games. Peter Burns and the boys bring Lamont Paris on. And the dude's just wildly likable. He's just likable. I can see. So they were talking yesterday after the win over Arkansas, over the Arkansas Razorbacks. And they brought on Lamont and they brought on BJ Mack, who played his pre-South Carolina ball over at Wofford. They brought BJ Mack on and they were talking about Lamont and whatever. And he said, they told a story where at the beginning of the season, when the media votes came out and South Carolina was voted by the media to finish last in the Southeastern Conference, they said Lamont walked into the locker room and he had printed out the results of the poll. They said he walked into the locker room and he said, fellas, this tells me that the media thinks that either you suck or I suck.
Disrespectful.
But we got to fix it. And BJ said when he rolled up into the locker room and hit us with, the media thinks either you suck or I suck, but we need to prove it wrong. He said that team was ready to go on a mission. That team was ready to get it done. And clearly they did, man. Clearly they did. I like this guy. He's a likable cat. He's the type of dude that players want to play for, but also still knows ball. And I think there's, again, this is just a subjective, speculative opinion. You hear the term players coach. He's a players coach. That's a players coach. That's somebody players want to be around. That's somebody players want to play for. I think that term gets thrown around a lot, but more importantly, I think in a lot of cases, in a lot of places, players coaches don't necessarily have the reputation of being excellent knowers of ball. I think in a lot of times, guys get so caught up in doing all that they can do to make sure that players like them that they don't necessarily get into figuring out the tactics, figuring out the rotations their teams need to go through, figuring out the lineups their teams need to play in. And Lamont Paris does not strike me as that guy. Lamont Paris strikes me as a cat who knows his team, who understands his team, and who knows how to get the most out of his team. Now, that's not to say the Gamecocks have been perfect. They play Auburn today. The same Auburn team that a month and a half ago beat them by 40. Now, they were on the road. They were at Auburn, one of the toughest places to play in the Southeastern Conference, the jungle, as they affectionately refer to it, down on the plains of Opelika, Alabama. The jungle is a notoriously tough place to go play basketball. But you can't lose by 40. Bama beat them by, what was it, 27, 30, something like that? Bama beat them by like all the points as well. Can't do that. Can't have that. Gotta be more prepared. Be more well-rounded. But the bounce back has been real. The bounce back after that loss to Auburn has got to be noted. You did have the L to Tennessee at home, but you split the season series with Tennessee 1-1. And I would like to point out, Tennessee, as I told you they were going to 2 weeks ago when this loss happened, is going to be a 1 seed in this year's tournament. And you lost to them by 7 in a game that was closer than that. You beat a good Mississippi State team who beat Arkansas. And then you got Arkansas 80-66 yesterday in a game that was Arkansas quit trying with like 4 minutes left to go. 4 minutes left. That team rolled over. At that point, they were like, let's just score points. We'll let them score points too. Let's just go pad the stats a little bit. Colin Murray-Boyles was a guy that was not registered on recruiting boards. He was a no stars guy. Yesterday, he scored 24. He was a rebounding machine. Everything went through Colin Murray-Boyles yesterday. I go back to the L to Tennessee, and L in which you will remember because I pointed it out frequently, so I hope you remember. Michie Johnson went 0 for 7 from behind the arc in that game.
So you weren't a little bit worried yesterday in the first half when it was so tight and when they were having trouble dropping baskets? I know they pulled away in the second half. I watched the majority of the game. I watched the entire first half and a good portion of the second half, including watching like the last 20 minutes or so this morning. And I was a little concerned. It looked like I think there are some teams that the bye is good and other teams it's not.
I was not uber concerned, and I'll tell you why. Arkansas is a good team. Arkansas is a good team. Arkansas is going to, well, I guess did now finish sub 500, but by a game, by yesterday's game. They're a good team. Eric Musselman is a good coach. That is the first time that Eric Musselman went sub 500 in a season. He's a good coach. This was always going to be a war of attrition. This was always going to be a game that Arkansas was going to want to make very physical, but because of the fact that I don't think they had the stamina up and down the floor that South Carolina had, A, and B, as I mentioned on yesterday's show, they went to overtime with Vanderbilt the day before. Less than 24 hours before that, they had gone to overtime with a very upstart Vanderbilt team. By the way, Vanderbilt moved on from their head coach after that L. A lot of coaches getting canned yesterday. They had gone to overtime less than 24 hours before that. And as we talked about on the show yesterday, you've only got so much gas in the tank. There's only so much juice in the metaphorical battery that runs you. And if you go overtime in an SEC tournament game, it's going to wear you down. So we got to halftime. I was watching this game with the fiance yesterday in the Bro Cave on the 75-inch. She's like, I thought we were supposed to be good. I was like, you are good. You got to keep in mind, Arkansas, if they lose, they're done. There's no NIT for Arkansas. They're over. They're toast. If they don't win this game, their season is over. You, on the other hand, are a lock for the tournament. And not that I didn't get the vibes like I did from the Clemson L in game number 1. I didn't get the vibes, or perhaps I was not forced into a position where I had to go hunt down the silver lining. With Clemson yesterday, as I got called out on the phone by Torrance for it, I had to go hunt a silver lining for Clemson. And the silver lining that I hunted down was they were already a lock in the tournament. And this team is full of guys that over the years would usually enter the ACC tournament with a spot in the big dance on the line. They had to go do something. They had to go win a couple of games, make a run, get another quad 1 win in the tournament in order to even, in the ACC tournament, in order to even get a spot. This year was different for Clemson in that they had locked up their spot in the big tournament 3 weeks ago. And so because of that, I don't know that there was the urgency out of this team in the ACC tournament like most of us would have liked to see. South Carolina, same situation. They were locked in 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Enough quad 1 wins, a high enough net ranking that this team got locked in a couple of weeks ago. This team absolutely could have, and it would have been understandable. I'm not saying you had to like it, but it would have been understandable if this team entered the Southeastern Conference tournament and was like Clemson, a little bit lackadaisical in their first game. Because, hey, we're already in the tournament that matters. We're already in the tournament where somebody is going to be crowned national champion. And on top of that, the seeding can't be improved that much for South Carolina. They're either a 6 or a 7. The likelihood of jumping up to a 5 is not real high. You're likely also not going to be able to improve the region that you're in either. So it would have been very understandable if the Gamecocks last night against Arkansas came out a little sluggish, but they didn't. They didn't. And when it got to halftime, and she said, I thought we were supposed to be good. Why aren't we winning this game? My response was, take a deep breath. You're going to win this game. This team has got too much in it right now. They are playing too hard. You just need to outlast Arkansas. Arkansas is a team that's playing for its life. Now, the game that I am all in for is today. South Carolina v. Auburn. This is a revenge game for South Carolina because Auburn thoroughly embarrassed the Gamecocks a couple of weeks ago. That game was nationally broadcast. That game was a game that the eyes of the college basketball fan world were all tuned in for because it was at the time a top 15 matchup. Two Southeastern Conference powerhouses, two tournament-destined teams trying to establish the pecking order, and at the time, considering Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, and on its way up was Kentucky, we knew they were all going to kind of finish within the same record of each other. And if you ended up with a tie, that double bye for the SEC tournament was very much on the line at that point in time. Well, South Carolina lost that game. They ended up with an identical record to Auburn. But because Auburn had the win over South Carolina and the win over Alabama, Auburn got the tiebreaker. South Carolina had to play or has to play one game more than Auburn. So much as last night, or yesterday afternoon, I should say, much as yesterday afternoon, South Carolina entered that game against Arkansas with Arkansas having fought for their lives the day before that. And I think they just ran out of gas down the stretch. I still think South Carolina would have won, but Arkansas very clearly ran out of gas in the last few minutes of the game. Why? Because they had played a game less than 24 hours before that. South Carolina now enters this game with a game in hand, Auburn coming off of a double bye. So that team's fresh. That team's got fresh legs. And if this also turns into a war of attrition, who's got more gas down the line, that's an advantage for the Auburn War Eagle Tigers. So I'm all in for this game. I'm in for this game because it is, as we mentioned, the possibility for a revenge game for South Carolina. It is a revenge game that they can prove, hey, that was a fluke. That's not who we are. By the way, South Carolina right now, bracketology, I said a 6 seed. Joe Lunardi's got them in as a 5 seed right now. Lunardi's got them playing in the Detroit region out in Spokane. How has Spokane become the most popular city on the show this week? Playing out of Spokane as the 5 seed right now. They have got the winner. They've got the McNeese Cowboys as an AQ opponent in a 5-12 matchup. If they win that game, if the bracket turns out to look like this, they would get the winner of Kansas VCU in the second round. Kansas is beatable. They lost to Cincinnati a couple of nights ago in their conference championship tournament. I like that. The only problem you will have if the bracket holds up the way it is built right now is that in the round of 32, you could knock off the 4-seed Kansas or the 13-seed VCU. The problem is in the Sweet 16, you would catch number 1 Purdue when Zach Edey, college basketball player of the year. That dude's a beast. I will simply say BJ Mack will have his work cut out for him if South Carolina catches Purdue in the third round. BJ Mack would become the most important guy outside of Lamont Paris in Columbia, South Carolina. Well, I guess I should say in Detroit, Michigan, if South Carolina is squared up with Purdue in the Sweet 16. I do not like that draw. I like having McNeese. I like having Kansas and VCU. I would have much rather South Carolina end up lined up against Houston, maybe UConn. By the way, Lenardi also has North Carolina as the final 1 seed. He has got Tennessee. Where do you put Tennessee? He's got Tennessee as the 2 seed down in the South region, down actually right up the road in Charlotte. If Tennessee's the 2 seed, guess who could they end up against? Guess who they could end up against in the second round? That would be the 7 seed Clemson Tigers. Who does Clemson draw according to bracketology right now? Great one in round 1. Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans as the 10 seed. Home court advantage for Clemson, but Michigan State travels well, so maybe not. That's a tough out for Clemson. Michigan State in round 1, Tennessee in round 2.
Tough out. That was good wording there.
Oh, that is one of the tougher 2 gamers to open up the bracket of anybody, dude. Hey, that's what you get for getting bounced in round 1 of the ACC tournament. All right, game 1, not round 1. You get it. Shut up.
He's a big-ass boy is what he is. God
BJ
dang.
Mack. Let's take a break. Get away from some basketball. We got some golf and other stuff. Oh, guess who's next? Rashad Beard. Talks Panthers next on the Rob Brown Show with a fan upstate. All right, guys, let me step away while I get Rashad lined up. We'll be right back. Rashad, what's up, fella?
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, partner?
I'm hanging in there.
I bet Rashad's never been banned in Russia or Belarus.
Nah, that hasn't been the case just yet.
We got banned in Russia for playing Hulk Hogan's theme song.
Yeah.
I kind of take that as like a badge of honor, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Rashad just went bye-bye.
Oh, it was nice having you,
It
Rashad.
was there and then he was gone.
There we go. Sorry, I had to log in. I logged in to StreamYard, so I'm good now.
I have enough time. Hey, Rashad, what if Chicago's fooling everybody and they keep Justin Fields?
I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing. The plan is not clear to me, so I don't know. I think it'd be cool though. I like Fields.
Ready for the play? Ready for the play? Marvin Harrison Jr. at 1, Michael Penix at 8. That's the play.
Wouldn't be mad at that.
You still get your quarterback. You get a guy a lot of people like, and you have just built with Keenan Allen the best wide receiver core in the National Football League.
Agreed. Yeah, it would be. That'd be a good score for sure.
It is not Thursday, my friends, but that's all right. You know, we still got to talk Carolina Panther football, and who else are we going to do that with? Then from right up the road in Charlotte, North Carolina, he is one half of the Panther Nation podcast. He is Rashad Beard, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Up. Say, what's up, player?
What's going on? Exciting times for the Panthers.
Be honest. Are you excited right now?
I'm a little excited. I like the direction the Panthers are going based on these signings. So yeah, I see direction. So that has me excited.
It is a roller coaster right now because the contract negotiation period gets here. Yetur Gross-Matos is gone. Frankie Louvu is gone. Brian Burns is gone. You lose a lot, but then the very next day, you sign 2 pretty impressive guards in Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt from Seattle and Miami. You make a couple of moves on the defensive side of the ball. You bring in a hard-nosed linebacker and Ashawn, a pass rusher. Talk to me about what like the process of thought was for you watching some of the cornerstones of the defense leave, but then watching some pieces start to float back in.
Yeah, my theme has been this whole entire free agency period is let it play out. You have to let it play out. I know Burns is somebody that we love around here. We had to let him go. Could not get that contract that he wanted. Obviously got a major deal with the Giants, but not only with that deal, we weren't going to get the picks that we expected. So folks were expecting us to get a first round pick. Kind of warned you that it wasn't going to happen like that because you have to pay said Brian Burns. So they paid him. And, you know, guys like Frankie Louvu, that one hurt a lot. But again, everybody's motivation is different. You know, he went to go to a team that he wanted to be utilized as a pass rusher. And, you know, Dan Quinn is going to have him doing just that. So, you know, kudos to him for that. But then you start to see, you know, guys like Josie Jewell, who has the linebacker that we signed, who has a connection to Evero. That's good. He knows the system. Ashawn Robinson knows the system. So they're going to be able to step right in and hit the ground running. That's important. You know, sign those guards. I mean, we sat up here and complained all last year about how Bryce Young is getting killed out here. And so what do? You go in there and sign one of the top guards. You get another guard to pair along with them. You structure their contracts well. And I'm happy. Like I see direction. They've kind of gone along with the plans that they've said. And I'm happy about free agency so far. I would like to see one additional pass rusher, but it's still early. We still got time. So I'm happy with the way things are going.
I'm intrigued by the reaction to the Brian Burns trade. I know my partner in crime and colleague in the afternoon has been just Macho Man Randy Savage style, dropping verbal elbows on the Panthers. Oh, could have been 2 first rounders. And yeah. And my reaction was this. Everybody who's saying that is playing the role of Captain Hindsight, right? Like, yes, in hindsight, you should have made the move with LA a couple of years back when you had the opportunity. But the reality here is, in context, Rashad, 2 years ago, we didn't know this team was going to be trash last year. 2 years ago, we didn't know how bad it was going to get before it started to rebound onward and upwards. And 2 years ago, there was a little more hope and optimism with Bryce Young and this new retooled offense and Frank Reich coming in, a quarterback whisperer he was supposed to be. The people who are kicking Carolina while they're down for not making the trade for the 2 first-round picks, I think are kind of putting all of that out of sight, out of mind, Rashad, and probably giving. Listen, I'm all about giving the Panthers what they've deserved when they've deserved it, but that just feels a little reactionary. You got the best you could get for a guy who wanted more money than you could pay him to stay in here. And oh, by the way, had you kept him, had you played him on the tag, it's not like at the end of next year he was going to ask for less money and make it easier for you. You got what you could get.
Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, that's just Captain Obvious. Of course, we should have taken the first round picks back when we could have. Unfortunately, that's not our reality right now, and you had to take what you can get. And we were able to get a early second round pick. So now we have pick 39 and 33. We'll be able to get a couple of really good players. Obviously, they're not going to be Brian Burns, but one could argue that, hey, the guy that we signed, DJ Wanham, had 8 sacks last year, which is the same production that Brian Burns had. And I'm not saying that it's equal caliber players, but what you are seeing is that Evero has a type. He wants a run-stopping, edge-setting edge, right? And that's maybe not what Brian Burns was, hence why they're not able to or wanted to spend that amount of money on Brian Burns. There's a plan, and that's the thing we need to see here. There is a plan in action, right? The money that they spent went to protecting Bryce Young. That's what I understand Brian Burns. I get that. We're frustrated. Cool. All good. But the focus is protecting Bryce Young. When you get the best out of Bryce Young, defense can take a small step back, right? When the offense is firing on all cylinders, and that is the hope. So that's the plan I see, and we got to see it. We got to let it play out, which is what I started with.
Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show. Ordinarily joins us on Thursdays, hanging out with us on a Friday here on the show.
Chase Young or Clowney? Do you want either or both?
So both is probably unrealistic. So just to keep things in realistic terms, I would say probably Clowney. Clowney, I think, is going to give you a little more consistency than Chase. Chase has probably a higher ceiling, a little bit younger. So Chase would be great. I think Chase would also ask for a little bit more money because he is younger. But at the same time, if I can get him on an incentive-laden deal where, hey, you're not injured all the time, because the biggest thing with him is injuries. He stays injured. But for right now, I'd probably go Clowney, Carolina guy. So Clowney is who I would take.
Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show. Texter said, who's going to catch the ball? To me, Rashad, you've got, as you brought up a second ago, you've got 2 second-round picks available this year. This is probably the deepest wide receiver class we have seen in a very long time. I have gone on the record and said there's probably 3 or 4 guys that will be available at 33 that in most other years are probably off the board by 22, 23. That'll probably fall to where the Carolina Panthers have their first pick. I don't specifically know who the answer is here, but I know 33, well, scratch that. I think 33 should be a wide receiver because there's going to be some good ones available.
Well, I mean, we just traded for Deontay Johnson from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who was very, very underrated wide receiver, a very good route runner. And that's what we're missing on this team. All the speed is great. Being able to run fast is great. But Deontay Johnson is a really, really good wide receiver. Obviously, he got lost in the sauce in Pittsburgh playing with, subpar quarterbacks. But I think that Deontay Johnson is being slept on. He can step in and be wide receiver 1. Literally, I think people are really sleeping on him. And so Deontay Johnson, 1, is going to catch the football. You still got Adam Thielen, right? Of course, you can still draft a wide receiver. I think you look at the picks between second and third round, you're still going to be able to get a really good wide receiver, whether it's, a Keon Coleman, whether it's a Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell. Like you just said, this wide receiver class is stacked, and there's no other time to need a wide receiver than right now. So I think that wide receiver core is the least of my concerns right now. I know it was a big problem last year, but we'll be able to fix that. We've started with Deontay Johnson, and I think we're going to finish that in the draft.
Let me lay out. I still want to go wide receiver, and here's why. Because I agree with everything you said about Deontay Johnson, guy that early in his career had an issue with the drops. That has been largely corrected. As drop rates go over the last 2 seasons, I think 3rd lowest in the league of any receiver who had at least 200 targets. You're right. He's quick, good route runner. I still would like to add one more. And I'd like to add one more because adding one more lets me move Adam Thielen truly to that slot position that I want him in. Adam Thielen is a phenomenal, I'm going to say route runner. Realistically, he's a guy who sees the defense, figures out where the hole is, and sits in it. And to me, that's exactly the kind of game that Bryce Young excels at, is seeing, recognizing, and being able to say, this is where that hole is going to be before he even takes the snap. If I can get one more guy, have Deontay, have a burner on the outside, or I'll tell you another guy, Xavier Legette out of South Carolina, Johnny Wilson, a 6'7" receiver out of Florida State. Either one of those cats, because then I can either have Deontay at the 1 and Johnny Wilson at the 2, or, even a red zone specialist, or Keon Coleman on the outside as a burner and let Deontay kind of be the route runner and put Adam Thielen in the slot. All of a sudden, we go from having one of the most disappointing wide receiver units in football to maybe having one of the better ones.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I'm not mad at drafting a wide receiver. Obviously, if you look at it from a team building standpoint too, Deontay Johnson is basically on a 1-year rental. He's a 1-year, $10 million contract. So you got to kind of think about, who knows what's going to happen after. He could ball out and command $30 million a year. We might not be able to afford it. Although 2025 cap is looking really nice right now. But you do want to, protect yourself for the future. We still have Mingo on the roster. I do think if we draft a wide receiver, you got to think about life after Adam Thielen and potentially, Deontay Johnson. So yes, I'm all for. I'm of the thought that you should draft a wide receiver every year, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Get one every year. You keep that backlog of wide receiver talent there, just in case. You never know what's going to happen. And so yes, I'm for drafting a wide receiver. Legette would be really nice. Worthy, who's the burner. There's a plethora. Any type of wide receiver you need. Ladd McConkey, although I think he'd be a duplicate of Thielen. Listen, go wide receiver. Build that depth so you won't have a problem moving forward with the core. And Bryce always has somebody to go to. So yes, I like it.
Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. We talked a little bit about Dan Morgan last week, and it feels like he and Dave Canales are on the same page, which is a nice change of pace from the last as long as I've worked here. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the way that free agency has been handled. Like I said, I think it's revisionist history. I think it's Captain Hindsight to be mad about the Brian Burns trade. You did the best you could do. Couldn't do much about Frankie Louvu, right? Like, he pretty much has outright said, I'm not leaving for money. I'm leaving for me. I'm leaving to go play for a guy I want to go play for. There's nothing you can do in that spot. So really, the only guy that maybe you can get upset about leaving is Yetur Gross-Matos. But you and I have talked about this cat in the past. All the upside in the world, kind of scraped it a couple of times, never really reached it. Maybe I'm being an optimist for Carolina. Maybe I'm being a silver linings guy. It doesn't feel as bad as it's been made to feel based on the circumstances. I'm not saying losing those guys is a good thing. I'm saying for what the situation is, you came out the best you could. And on top of that, it kind of feels like Dan Morgan at least knows what he's going and looking for, as opposed to not really having an idea who the hell's pulling the trigger because you're in 1,000 different directions. I like what we've seen over the past 3 days.
Yeah, I feel good, man. I feel really good. And I could say a hot take. I can go crazy here and say that, hey, I think that the defenses might end up better than they were last year, subtracting Brian Burns. I think that Evero is that good of a coordinator to where he's going to get the best out of his guys. And he's bringing guys that are familiar with that defense. Again, I always say, go back to that Denver roster. Look at that Denver defense back in 2022, right? Before he came to Carolina. And that defense was great. Top 5 defense And there were no names, no big names on that defense, right? Patrick Surtain, they had Justin Simmons in the second. They had a good secondary. But when you talk about the pass rushers and the interior linemen, you don't know any of those guys. And a couple of those guys are now on this roster, right? Jewel. So I think this defense is going to be fine. I think that's how good Evero is at his job. And so if the defense can give me, maybe if they take a small step back, they're not as good as they were last year. But the offense takes a major step forward, we're still cooking with grease. So that's what this has been all about. We've said it on this show a million times. It's all about Bryce Young. And the fact that they got those two guards and getting him some wide receiver help, I firmly believe that this offense is going to be much better.
Lonzo's upset.
Yeah, the perfect opportunity to play a certain cut from a former Panther, and you missed it.
He's a big-ass boy is what he is.
No, not that one. Not that one. Hot as fish grease.
Hot as fish grease, bro. Steve Smith has absolutely made the rotation.
Yeah.
And now I can't find. There it is.
Hot as fish grease, bro.
It's the best.
It's horrible when I see an opportunity
Yeah,
missed,
well,
and
that's why you win awards and I'm just along for the ride, bud. Rashad Beard is here. He is the host of the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it today at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, make sure you go find him. And
I need to ask him one more question.
Yeah,
hey, Rashad, did you know that Mike Tyson is 57 years old?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know his exact age.
No.
I didn't know.
We were having a fight about. I mean, all right. Who you got? Who got Tyson or Jake Paul?
Man, I hope Tyson, man, but you never know. These fights, I don't know. Jake Paul fights you just never know. But I'm pulling for Tyson.
I'm going on vacation next week. I had to,
I was having such a good day. Rashad's here. We're talking football, goofing off in the last hour, and then Lonzo's got to bring that crap up again.
He's 57, Rashad. I don't know if you did.
57 years old. He's 50. Why, Mike? Why, Jake? You want to be a real boxer? You're going to knock out a 60-year-old man, and we're all just all good with that. We're all good with this elder abuse. We're good with that.
I mean, hey, do what you got to do, man.
No, don't, Rashad. Don't do that. Don't do that. Rashad Beard, Panther Nation podcast. Find them on YouTube. Panther Nation PC. What you guys got coming up this weekend? Anything good?
Nothing crazy this week, man. Just trying to wrap up the free agency period. We might go over some draft prospects, sum up some pro days. But yeah, man, keep an eye on it. We're preparing for the draft, so it's all good.
Did you use my busted house analogy last week?
I did not. My apologies. I did not.
I was giving you gold, Rashad. I gave you gold.
You did.
I gave you gold.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week, big fella.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us usually on Thursdays. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 3 and get it started for the final 60 of the week. After that, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Drop my pen. Let me show you.
No way. He's just so touchy.
I like Ladd McConkey, but you have Ladd McConkey at home with Adam Thielen. I don't know how much that helps you.
Well, the chance
Unless
to
you just want to move on from Adam Thielen.
or the chance to learn behind someone
Yeah.
who's
Plays
been one of the
same
best.
position, same style.
I mean, you know, then you can give Thielen some rest too.
Not wrong. I just feel like I need more of an impact in that spot. No, you do not want Izzo and Marsh. That team can stink all year and then just turn it on in March for no reason. Good news is it will be in Charlotte, so the Clemson fans could at least show up.
There you go.
Daggum.
I'm gonna fight through my left hand not working right on the keyboard. I wonder if I can condition myself out of the shake. It's just like it's mostly my pinky. Like I can't, if I hit shift, my whole hand starts shaking.
How would one do that?
Repetition maybe.
Repetition
or would that,
of what?
Just continuing to type a lot because
Oh.
I don't type that much like I used to. What I should do is sit down on my keyboard and start just playing some every day and get used to my left hand doing something.
You need to do like that. There's a 70-year-old Vietnam vet who I think I told you about him, plays Call of Duty and he streams it and he's hysterical when he plays because he plays it like a real Army sniper and he's freaking incredible. You need to start a channel where you just stream yourself playing games.
See, keyboard I was talking about was, the music keyboard, but I've thought about streaming, but it'd just be me singing a lot, which is not a horrible thing. Hey, Rob, you know what we should do? We should start.
I swear if you say something about him being 57.
No. I was going to say, because esports is a game, is a sport. We should start streaming games on the Fan Upstate.
We really should.
I mean, do we have to do sports games though?
I mean, I would. The problem, you know what the problem is, and the one thing that's kept me from streaming games in the past is that I'm not good, and the internet loves to dunk on people.
Yeah, that can be entertaining also. I mean, guarantee you we're the best gamers on this station.
Oh, for sure.
So, I mean, there's that.
For sure. I still stink.
Ain't nobody from the other show stepping up and doing better. So, I mean,
I just don't know that that's the spot I want to run my mouth.
I once bought a game just to show Mark Ryan how to get past the level. So, I mean, and I did, and then I beat the game twice, and I'm not sure he ever beat the game. So, I mean,
the level of petty in that is beyond respectable, beyond commendable. Even.
I try to help a teammate to get past something, and the best way to do it is to try to do it yourself, which I did, and then it just didn't help him. So I had to do it a second time to show him how easy it was.
Yeah,
it's called motivation.
That's it.
We could stream the new college football game when it comes out.
I actually honestly already plan on it. I don't see how that's a bad idea at all.
So you're going to do that without me. So
no
no team there.
We'll do it on the big TV behind us. We could brand new big TV.
We could do that. We haven't played any video games on that.
That's kind of sad to be honest with you. We can do that. I got no way. You will not have to twist my arm to get me to come sit in this studio and play the new NCAA football game.
Shane says on the stream, by the way, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and the X. Bet it took Mark with a C. I added that so you guys would know who he's talking about. 57 times to get it, probably.
Texter said, it's not a fight. It's a sparring session at best. Jake Paul is a sports entertainer, not a boxer. That's from Ryan and the Tap Outs and Touchdowns pod.
Appreciate
it, Ryan.
I would think that you consider that an insult to sports entertainers everywhere.
I don't. It's fake fighting. The difference is we all in the wrestling world acknowledge, understand, and don't care. If they would just stop selling it as legit boxing and just be like, come watch a YouTuber put on exhibitions and entertain you, I'd be good with that.
By the way, shout out to all the guys we've interviewed, all the and women wrestlers, including the last one we had, which was our truth.
It's the best. Yeah. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
I say that all the time now. I am annoying the hell out of my fiance with it.
I don't understand why. I wish we could get
This is on me. My bad.
I want to get Jake Paul on the show. I think we could have a lot of fun with that.
Have a great show.
Oh, I could do the interview by myself.
Enjoy it.
It would be very entertaining.
Enjoy it.
And I would see how many times I could squeeze in 57 in the entire interview.
Hey, Jake, why do you condone beating up old men? Why is that okay to you? Why are you good with that? Shouldn't you fight somebody your age that's, not 57? Jake?
So Jake grew up hearing the song, I Think I Could Beat Mike Tyson, and now he's got a chance to do it.
Yeah,
and
when that song dropped? 1999?
You're just guessing. You don't know.
That song's probably... No, I don't even know the song. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, you never heard the song?
No.
Okay.
What's it called? I Think I Could Beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
That song from DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Let's see. When did that song come out? Because I'm willing to bet you that song's older than Jake Paul. Dropped in, just so we're clear, 1989.
Yeah. So, Rob, what you're saying is this from a guy who went to a Leonard Skinner ZZ Top concert last night. So you're saying you can't discover old music?
No. What I'm saying is you're fighting a guy who was considered an idol in 1989. I am 39 years old. That song came out when I was 4. It has been 35 years. I'm bad at math. 35 years since Will Smith placed as the guy. When you sing a song like that, what you're saying is, I think I could beat anybody on planet Earth.
Well, they rap. It depends on if you consider that singing or not.
This is the guy that I think is the baddest mother you-know-what on the planet, and that was in 1989.
So now he's coming at me trying to make me feel bad because I'm old.
No, I'm saying
that was 3 years
Jake
after I graduated
Paul
from high
is
school.
Trying to convince you all that a real boxing match is him versus the guy who's the baddest man on the planet in 1989. It has nothing to do with the song or the age or the genre or even, and this may shock you, Lonzo, you. This has nothing to do with you.
Okay, so you are the only one talking or listening right now who won't be watching this.
No, I'm not. You literally just read you a text from somebody who said it's a glorified sparring session.
Didn't say he wasn't going to watch.
Ryan, are you watching that?
I mean, it's on Netflix. Everybody's got Netflix. They're watching. I'm watching. I still find it hard to believe that you won't be.
I hope you all have a lovely evening. I hope you all enjoy it.
We finally get to see Jake Paul get beat up really bad by Mike Tyson. Who doesn't want to? I don't care about the size of gloves. I don't care. So Vegas is wrong all the time, or at least sometimes. It's come on. Tyson's gonna make him cry. Gonna make him cry.
Okay.
They're wearing headgear just to protect Jake Paul's ears. Mm-hmm. That's all. That's the only reason why that headgear's on there. Mm-hmm. So Mike can't take a bite.
Here's something that's going to be more entertaining than a Jake Paul Mike Tyson, who is 57 and had rappers singing about him in 1989.
You must chill.
Boxing match. It's the Sports Flash.
Glad it happened right now, man. You need to go take some laps in the hallway. Don't get lost. Lamont Paris had a good day yesterday. First, he reached an agreement with South Carolina for a contract extension that will keep him in Columbia through the 2029-2030 season at a salary of roughly $4 million a year. Then hours later, his Gamecocks knocked off Arkansas on those Razorbacks 80-66. Carolina held just a 3-point lead at the half, but wore Arkansas out in the second, creating 14 turnovers in the process. The Gamecocks move into the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament and face Auburn today. The Kansas City Chiefs got some help yesterday signing Marquise Holloway Brown to a 1-year deal worth up to $11 million. Last season, Patrick Mahomes completed only 57% of his passes to receivers not named Rashee Rice, and they were looking for an upgrade, and they got one. Another sturdy hour coming up. Thank you, Trey. I appreciate it. I thought about that, when I said it. Rob won't give me credit for it, though. All he heard was the number 57 just rolling around in his skull. So from henceforward, when Rob goes to see a concert of people who were out before he was born, he's being hypocritical.
That's not what it's about. And that's not what it's about.
I would never use one thing for another thing. I am not that clever. Hey, look at that. I got an hour left before vacation.
It's noticeable.
Yeah, man, I do like My Name is Jonas because I think it was on Rock Band 1. I think it was on.
I like Rock Band. That's a fun game.
Maybe I'll play it some while I'm on vacation since I don't need to use my voice for anything for a week.
I not too long ago almost bought a Wii just to have Rock Band.
You can get it on Xbox One.
Can you?
Yes, I got Rock Band 5 on both on Xbox One and X.
I don't think it was on Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got like 300 songs. I invite you guys every Christmas just to hear you say, "Oh yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, I'll make some time," and you guys never do. So it's become a game.
I'm a very busy person. Trey, most Weezer songs have a good groove to them.
Except for the version of Africa.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's more mellow and melancholy.
Hit the drums that go in the night.
Yeah, I don't think we can go an hour without mentioning music. I don't think we could. Nor should we try. Yeah, you're right. Why would we want to do that?
Music is the second universal language.
Wrestling is the first. I don't remember what we talked about last segment, so I'm just going to write in the number 57.
That's what we talked about.
By the way, I did write in the number 57 on my chapters. So
good. Yay.
So I don't think I sound that way. Maybe I do. In my mind, I never sound as dumb as people make me sound when they impersonate my voice.
I wasn't impersonating your voice.
Yeah, I don't know. Use that same voice when you say something that I said.
I'm mocking.
Yeah, so mocking is impersonating.
No, it's not.
If you mock, you're doing it in the voice that you think you sound like. I can't mock you because your voice is amazing, and I couldn't even possibly come close to recreating it.
I don't disagree with that. The final hour of the Rob Brown radio program starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the fan upstate. Rob and the great one Lonzo with you. The final 60 minutes before he goes on vacation. Can you tell? Can you dig it, sucker?
I just think it sounds like Friday. I mean, it's not really that much different than normal Fridays.
A lot of stuff, a lot of ground to cover in the final 60 minutes of the radio program. I want to address a text we got while Rashad Beard was on the show not too long ago. He said, Rob, texter says, Panthers had Rattler and May in their backyard, and they wanted to sell the farm for Bryce Young. Not sure that's necessarily the best move. We all knew Rattler's potential and May. They wouldn't have cost us 2 years worth of picks. So a couple of things that I think need to be addressed about that texter. Number one is this. Having guys from the local colleges and/or universities is a fan-only perspective. That is a perspective. That is a priority that only matters to you, the fans. It does not matter to the NFL teams. The NFL teams could not give a hoot less where the players played their college ball. They only care that they produce at the next level. That's it. So you can have all the conversations that you would like regarding, how come the Panthers don't have more Gamecocks? How come the Panthers don't have more Tigers, more Terriers, more Paladins, whatever? I promise you, the same conversation happens around the league. I can tell you for a fact it happens down in New Orleans, Louisiana, where every year the bleed over fans that are both Saints and LSU fans get real mad at New Orleans because they pass on players like Patrick Queen, linebacker out of LSU, who just signed a fat stat contract with Pittsburgh. He was draftable by the Saints. They passed on that guy. Part of the reason that they passed on that guy was because at the time, they were pretty good at the linebacker spot. They didn't really need him. It would have been a pick where they added depth when they had so many other spots on the roster that they genuinely needed to get better. And the LSU fans were real upset. Hey, how come the Saints never take our guys? The answer is because they don't care. Sure, it would be super nice. But what are you doing? Selling a couple more? Like maybe you're selling a couple more thousand individual game tickets. But the harsh reality is most of us as fans are not going to spend a ton of money to go watch an NFL team play. And again, yes, that is all that matters to them. Most of us are not going to drop a ton of money because a guy from our school is now playing ball in the NFL at whatever level. We're just, that's not a reality. And the NFL teams know that, and they treat it that way. Second, to address the guys you mentioned, Spencer Rattler and Drake May. When you say we knew the potential, did you know the potential when the Panthers were on the clock to go get Bryce Young? Because here's the thing. And again, I say this with all due respect because I am a Spencer Rattler fan. Bryce Young was a guy that had won all the trophies. He played and succeeded at the highest of levels in the Southeastern Conference. And I know that Spencer Rattler did as well. But what did, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful, I'm saying it to be accurate. Bryce Young won a national championship. He won a Heisman Trophy. He won the Maxwell Award. He won the Davey O'Brien. He won the Manning Award. He was the AP College Football Player of the Year in 2021. He was the Sporting News College Football Player of the Year in 2021. He was a 2021 Consensus All-American. He was the 2021 SEC Offensive Player of the Year. He was a first-team All-SEC player. He was a second-team All-SEC player the year before that. He threw 60% completion percentage. What on that list did Spencer Rattler accomplish? None of it. None of it. And I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I'm not saying that to knock Spencer Rattler. I'm a fan, but if you line those two guys' draft profiles up, and I'll even let Lonzo try to convince you that Bryce Young, vertically challenged as he is, should have his size and height comparison on there. Even if I give you that, what does Spencer Rattler have on the resume that says this guy's better than BY?
I would just say that Bryce Young barely has a better NFL record than Spencer Rattler. That's all I'm going to say. Just barely. Because all those things that you're talking about doesn't mean that he will be a good quarterback in the NFL. There have been a long list of players, not just quarterbacks, but especially quarterbacks who have a ton of accolades. They get to the NFL and it doesn't translate. And the sample size is way too small. We don't know. With all the moves that Carolina's making, maybe Bryce Young does better this year, but what if he doesn't?
I mean, what if he doesn't? But what if he does?
Right. Well, I hope he does, because I love the Panthers. They're my favorite NFC team. I want them to win. But if he doesn't, then all those accolades mean nothing except for NFL bust.
So to respond to our lovely texter here, I will say this.
You don't know if they're lovely. They could be ugly. I mean, we don't know that for sure.
Lovely is
their spirit.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
You got beautiful personality.
And probably very attractive.
Yeah, more than likely better looking than, well, no, not than us. Maybe better looking than the afternoon show. Yeah, I mean, To
respond to our lovely and I'm assuming very physically attractive texter, I am going to say this. In 2022, when you had to draft somebody, there was no way. First off, you say that as if Spencer Rattler has a better draft profile than Bryce Young. He does not have a better draft profile than Bryce Young.
Which is why he'll probably do better in the NFL because, again, quarterbacks with all those accolades don't seem to do too well in the NFL historically.
You go on and draft on your gut and see where that gets you, okay? When it comes to draft profile.
Well, I'm sturdy over here, so I got a lot of room to draft.
Not literally on your gut.
Okay.
When you draft, you do not draft based on speculation. You draft on accomplishments, profile, and workouts. That's it. Bryce Young has Spencer Rattler matched in just about everything, beat in just about everything, okay? Spencer Rattler has one thing over Bryce Young, literally his height. That's it. That's it. Spencer Rattler is taller than Bryce Young. We'll just go ahead and say it. He's 6'1", so he's got him by 3 inches. If you are going to say, I'm going to draft one guy that has all like does not have the accolades the other guys have, over 3 inches of height, and that is literally, and it is right now.
Allegedly,
for you, the texter,
we've never stood next to either one, so we don't know how true it is.
For the texter and for Lonzo, literally the only reason that you are saying Rattler will be better is he is 3 inches taller. That's the only thing you have. Because in terms of completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratio, ability, Bryce Young matches or surpasses Spencer Rattler in all of those. And oh, by the way, Bryce Young's got a cabinet full of hardware.
Well, we can't know what you're saying is true until Spencer Rattler plays in the NFL, and there's no guarantee that he gets to play.
All those things I just said are already true.
Yeah, and for college,
he's got him beaten all correct.
For college, you're right.
That's
For college,
how you draft the guy.
For college,
you are saying
for college.
I would draft Spencer Rattler because he's 3 inches taller. That's literally your argument. The texter has the only
By the way,
argument.
if I had the opportunity, if they both were coming out in the NFL right now, both those guys coming out, I would still take CJ Stroud.
Sure. And that's fine. I would argue a lot of people have the same argument and they have it on hindsight. And that's okay too.
You can't say that with
in
me.
Hindsight.
You can't say that.
No, I
with
can't.
Me.
That's why I said a lot of people and not Lonzo. In hindsight, yeah, it looks like the better draft pick right now. But I have also made the point to you that guys who play CJ Stroud style ball usually hit their ceiling way faster than guys who hit Bryce Young style ball. It just takes longer to adapt to the league when you play cerebral ball instead of physical ball.
You're right. CJ Stroud could hit the ceiling with the ball quicker than Bryce Young would because he has a farther distance to throw. And I don't know, velocity wise, maybe there's a difference. I don't know how gravity works, whatever.
See what I got to live with, people.
Mass
And
times.
this doesn't
so-
stop when the show's over. This is my day. The only
like
argument,
you're here all day.
No, I'm not, and I certainly will not be today. It's Friday. The only argument you have is the cost. You have the cost argument. Spencer Rattler wouldn't cost you. I don't disagree, but again, this is an argument made in hindsight.
I'm just so if Spencer Rattler's there like in round 4 or 5, would it harm Carolina to go ahead and pick him up?
You do not have the money. You just don't have the money to
Even
sign.
in that late of a round,
No,
you don't?
No, I mean you are still going to have to sign the cat to a contract, and no. The reality here is that's a roster spot. You are all in on Bryce Young. That is not debatable anymore. You just are locked in for Bryce Young.
Well, you don't have a choice. I mean, what if?
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. You are locked in with Bryce Young, even if today Dan Morgan came out and said Scott Fitter drafted the wrong guy, BY sucks. You are still locked in with BY. So
do the Carolina Panthers have a backup quarterback right now? Period on the roster.
Yeah.
I don't know if the rifle's still there. Is he?
No, I think Andy Dalton got signed somewhere or was working on it. No, he's still on the roster.
Is he? Okay. Because
as of right now, BY Andy Dalton. And for the record, I'd 100% keep Andy Dalton on this roster if I could. I'd keep you got a good contract on Andy Dalton. I would keep him on the roster, no doubt. The only argument you have is the 2 first-round picks. But again, did you have this same energy in 2022 when the Panthers were on the clock, when they were making the moves, when DJ Moore was sent out for first-round pick? Did you have this energy at that point? Because I'm willing to bet no. This is the problem that I am having, for instance, with the conversation about the Brian Burns trade. This is something that guys in my industry do all the time, and it frustrates the bleep out of me. And that is, they use the benefit of a hindsight to talk about how super big smart boy that they are. Oh, you should have gotten to. Yes. Now, 2 years later, we recognize if I had a crystal ball that told me that the Panthers were going to be 2-15 the next year, then yes, I would have jumped and bent over backwards to get 2 first-round picks. But at the time, nobody thought this team was going to be that bad. At the time, nobody thought a 2-15 season was loading. At the time, nobody knew
I don't know,
the
there
reality
were-
of what was coming down the pipe.
there were signs. By the way, the interview with Rashad, the thing that I remember the most is he agreed with me without even knowing my stance on it, that Frankie Louvu hurt. Brian Burns leaving didn't bother me as much as Frankie Louvu leaving.
I mean, listen, not mad about it. But when it comes to the Frankie Louvu stuff, that's that you didn't do anything wrong. That's just you can do everything right in a relationship.
Yeah, he's
and
like,
she still leaves you for the guy across the street.
Wait.
with a Porsche.
So I can go over here, and David Tepper's not the owner over here. I think I'll go over there.
It has nothing to do with that.
No, as far as we know.
No, he literally has told us. The reality
Has
is,
anyone ever said I left because I don't like the owner? I think that's one of those things that you just can't say.
I think a lot of people have said they have left because of administration, because they just didn't fit in the way that they wanted to. I think Frankie Louvu left because Frankie Louvu wants to play a true outside linebacker, and in a 3-4 defense, you are playing coverage and you are playing drop back half, if not more, of the time. Whereas in Dan Quinn's 4-3 as an outside linebacker, your job is tackle. That's it. That's your job.
I think it's kind of funny that the national shows are talking about how bad the Panthers are doing things when they were this bad last year. You're just now seeing it. I mean, I think they've made some good moves lately after the initial bad moves.
But this is exactly what I was just saying. The reason nobody talked about him last year until the end of the year was because it was genuinely a surprise how bad they were. We knew they weren't going to be good. We knew it was going to be a struggle of a year. None of us saw 2-15.
By the way, I was convinced they were going to be good enough to win the South. I was convinced.
We all were. I think a lot of those same folks, I'd be willing to bet if you went back, a lot of those same folks likely had Carolina picked to be probably a competitor in the NFC South, in large part because of how bad the division was, but because there was excitement over Miles Sanders and Bryce Young and all the moves that got Frank Reich and all the moves that got made. The point here I'm making is a lot of dudes in my industry, in our industry, in this industry, have a habit of looking at a reality through the prism of hindsight and then telling you how smart they were because this is what I would have done. Go back and find me the audio from 2 years ago. And I'm not saying nobody did. I do remember some people saying at the time, go ahead and get rid of Brian Burns now. But for the overwhelming majority of them, go find me the audio where you were saying in 2021, get rid of Brian Burns now. Where you were saying in 2021, get rid of the guy and take the 2 first-rounders now because he's going to fall off and he's going to ask for too much money. And, oh, by the way, we're going to be real bad going forward. You're not going to get it. It's real easy to criticize in the future. Future Rob, 2 years from now, will listen back to the show and find something I said that was wrong and go, God, that was real dumb. But I don't know it today because that's how hindsight works. And it's a bummer.
I can't wait to meet future Rob. He will have been married 2 years.
I'll ask her how she feels about the Brian Burns trade. Now, the argument there for sure can be about the 2 first-round picks. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with that. 2 first-round picks is expensive to get Bryce Young. And DJ Moore. Let's not forget DJ was in that mix too, right? 2 first-round picks and a wide receiver 1. But you had at the time a guy who had the accolades I just read you, a guy that was with the exception of Lonzo, consensus number 1 overall pick. And I'm not even saying that matters all that much because Caleb Williams is the consensus number 1 pick this year, and I'm not sold on him, okay? I'm not sold on Caleb Williams. I'm trying to think of who I would even compare him to vibes. I'm getting almost Jamarcus Russell vibes.
Whoa.
I know. I don't believe in him. As far as Drake May, as far as Spencer Rattler goes, like, I think everybody really liked Drake May. I'm not super high on Drake May at the next level. Like, I think Drake May is going to fall into that range of guys who are good enough.
I think this year they're hyping the quarterbacks because they have to. That's what they're supposed to do. But there is no real, to me, standout guy like there has been in years past where you go, no, that guy's number 1. Without a doubt, he is far and away better than everyone. And there's just not that guy this year.
I mean, there is to me.
I know.
There is to me. Out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, comes the young man named Jaden Daniels. But hey, that's just me. All right, let's see.
I was about to break news, but it's an old story that Nathan Peterman has signed with the Saints.
Texas said, how many times is Lonzo going to bash Bryce Young? And Rob says, be patient. The team around BY was hot garbage last year. Take time and let it play out. Yes. Yes. If I stick Jimmy Johnson into a NASCAR race in a 93 Corolla, he's gonna lose, even if he's the best driver in history, because the equipment is incapable of meeting minimum expectations. It just is. It just is.
By the way, I just want to point out, Texter, man, I hope Bryce Young wins MVP next year. I really do. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
It just would. I would love to come on here and say, okay, the height is not the detriment that I thought it was. They built a team around him. They started out by getting key free agents on the offensive line. They picked up a receiver no one saw them being able to get. Look at what they're able to do. And Evero is every bit the defensive coordinator that Rob Brown and Rashad Beard said he was. And look at this. They just won the NFC South and bowed out in the second round of the NFL playoffs. Wow. Man, I hope I could say that.
Texter said, keep up the good work, Mark and Diesel. That's my favorite text today. I don't know, man. I listen, if nothing else, okay? If nothing else.
You know, those kind of texts like doom people. That's what they do. I mean, you throw those in, and next thing you know, anyway.
If nothing else, Texter says, let's be realistic. This rebuild is going to take at least 2 seasons.
Will they be patient enough to do that? That's the thing. I mean, how many coaches has Tepper fired so far? Will he give Canellis enough time to actually build a team, if he can build a team? Because we don't know. This is his first head coaching job. Do we know if Dan Morgan can actually build a good team? We don't know. How many years does it take in the NFL now? And how much patience does an owner have to have? And is Tepper capable of that?
First off, the answer to how much patience does an owner need? More than Dave Tepper. I think we know the answer to that. But again, I agree. This is a rebuild. This is going to take some time. And I think the other element of it that we have discussed at length on this show, obviously, is Tepper truly out of the way? Now, we pointed out, I think last week on the show, we have now gone through, signed players out of free agency. We have gone through the NFL scouting combine. All right. The war room board has been built and put together. Lonzo, what's the last thing you heard out of the mouth of one David Tepper?
Nothing.
Exactly.
It's the silence is golden, as they say.
As of right now, it is. Now, again, there are, as of right now, with the exception of the free agency board, there's been no decisions to be made. I did get a crack up the other day in an article I was reading where somebody interviewed Nicole Tepper about Dave Canellis, and she said, "Oh, he's so exciting. I could talk X's and O's with him all day." I was like, "Nicole, don't do that. That's not your job. All right? Don't do that."
You know, it'd be awesome if Nicole came in this room and like ran circles around and know her a ball. What would you think if she did that?
I would be impressed.
Yeah. I
would be impressed. And I would still say it's not your job or your role. That's not your job. That's not your job. That's not your role.
You would tell Nicole to know her role.
Yeah, you got to set me up for that.
You should know your role and shut your mouth.
You set yourself up, man. This has been a couple times. There we go.
You sick freak.
I would very simply say it's not your job. Okay? It's not your job. Relax. Let Dave Canellis do Dave Canellis things.
See, that's the one thing that's always bothered me, not just with you, but with other people, telling someone who owns something that it's not their job. When you own something, you can decide that it's your job. Doesn't mean you're going to be good at it, but you can't tell them it's not their job because they own the team. And if they decide that's their job, then that's their job.
Then why do you have a general manager? Why do you have a head coach? Why not just be the general manager, the head coach?
Because you're the owner and you can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah, no. See, that is bad. That's real bad.
Didn't say it was good. I'm just saying that because they own the team, they can do what they want to with it.
And because it is bad, then the people who invest in that thing have the right to say, that's a bad idea. That's a dumb thing for you to do. Or in this case, to continue to do. It's gone real bad the whole time. Am I right, Jerry and Stephen Jones? See what I mean? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Good God, that's Gail Benson's music. Excellent work, James. Excellent work. You hurt me here. You wounded me, sir.
And still he agrees with you.
100%.
Hey, look, it's raining.
Oh.
I got rain.
Nap day. Also, I went home yesterday. My Cool Edit crashed like 13 times. I got nothing uploaded yesterday. My whole thing started crashing. I'm going to. I don't want to. All right, guys, I'm going to step away for 45 seconds. I'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. See, if I paid $1 billion for something, I would want to make sure that I am hiring people who know how to do the things I'm hiring them for and then replace them if they don't.
You would like to think so, but maybe not. Hey, I have a really important question though. How many paper towels does it take for a Kenny Pickett to dry his hands? I was just thinking about that when I was, when I pulled 4 off the thing. How many would Kenny? How many would Kenny pull? Like 1?
Could you imagine having your whole, you bust your ass, you become a good college quarterback, you get drafted to the National Football League, and your entire thing is you have small hands.
Oh.
You put in years of work to be a good quarterback, and the only thing people want to talk about is your baby hands.
Yeah, but you're still a millionaire, I mean, there's still that. It would bother me, I'm sure, but, What, the ones that Kenny would be using or the ones in our restroom? I don't know. We got that machine thing that gives the squares are, what would you say? Like 8 inches for the pieces? Yeah.
What's with these homies dissing my girl?
She ugly.
Hoo-hoo.
How old are the guys in Weezer?
Let's see. Rivers Cuomo age 53.
Wow, they're like my age. So the bands you like
are old.
Are all my age. Wow. You and Kenny, James. You and Kenny, I guess.
Hoo-hoo. Brian Bell is 55 and looks like he's 40.
I haven't traded. I think I have it recorded though. My leg wound is almost gone, but it's itching really bad. It's only taken like 2 months for the thing to go away. And they still don't know what it was. Still going with snake. I think I got bit by a snake. Why not? Well, if they don't know, I might as well make something up.
I'm totally fine with that. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It's the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo with you on a lovely, not that Upstate Friday morning. It's not lovely.
Come on. It's been someone on the stream earlier said it was thundering in Spartanburg. It's spring, dude.
It is gross outside, my dudes.
Do you need to mow your lawn yet?
Yeah, it's real close.
I was gonna say it's
real close.
It's getting close for me too. So
it's real close. Here's the worst thing that happens to me in the spring and the summer.
Besides
the pollen, which is already starting to act up. The cutting of the grass is the lady friend's zen. It's her thing.
Oh, I love it.
I know.
Yeah.
She does too. She loves to cut the grass. I, on the other hand, call me a beta male, if you will, hate yard work. I despise yard work. I hate it. I hate doing it. And I think it was because if you will all play my therapist for a minute, my dad was obsessed with it. So guess what young Rob was doing every Saturday of his childhood? He was outside with the man I affectionately referred to as the Arbor Day assassin. Because if it was green and it grew within 100 miles of our house, my dad was hitting it with the pruning shears routinely. Okay? One leaf, time to take down a forest. I don't know why. That was just his thing. So I think because of that, I despise yard work. She, on the other hand, loves to get out and cut the grass. Like she went and spent money on a nice riding lawnmower. She's the one that got us into gardening. She loves that stuff, which is fine. I'm glad she has her passion thing. The thing is, she wants to cut the grass. The problem with that, for me, is that we get to the summertime, and what do my neighbors see except every Saturday, her out there doing the yard work, and every now and then me coming out to check on her and being like, you missed the spot. You missed a spot. There's a stripe over there. You missed that stripe over there. So my neighbors, what do they see? They see a almost 40-year-old man come out of the house and point out to his significant other what she's doing wrong while she's doing the yard work, and then me going back into the air conditioning.
So when you first started this story, I thought that you were worried that they were thinking you were wimpy and you weren't doing it. Now you're worried that they think that you're making her do it.
It's just not a great look, okay?
Well, there's a way to solve it, but she won't let you do it. Probably you could ride the mower yourself.
I don't want to. Right? That's A, I don't want to. B, that's her thing. The point here.
Go out there, you throw some tunes or something on the earbuds. You just move it. It's just you and nature, and it's great.
I'll go camping if that's what I want.
When's the last time you went camping?
I haven't camped since I moved here. I own all the equipment. I just never go. All right. So
you can come to my yard and stay out on the back corner, and it'd be camping.
I don't care if the neighbors look at me and go, oh, he's weak, he's not manly, whatever. Look at me in my life. I clearly don't care about that. It's more.
Yeah, but you have a motorcycle, dude.
I do.
I mean, what's more manly than having a motorcycle?
4x4 vehicle that I take into the mud, sure. But again,
all right.
What I'm concerned about is the fact that the neighbors on a weekly basis watch me come outside and instruct my fiance as to how she's doing the yard work wrong while I'm inside in the air conditioning. It's not a good look, man.
All right. Diesel just turned around from wherever he's driving. He's going to pull up here. He's going to come up and he's going to look at you in the eyes and go, you ain't been mud running. And then he's just going to leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting stuck in a ditch is not mud running.
Stuck in a ditch. Point here is, I hate yard work, and it's about that time.
I can't wait, because in case you guys didn't know, I'm going to be on vacation here in about 25 minutes.
Lonzo takes vacation to do a week of yard work.
I do.
I don't get it.
I got some painting that needs to be done too.
Ugh.
So yeah.
I don't get it. I barely do stuff during the work week.
I even got an early start 2 days ago. Just cleaning out the flower beds. Yeah.
After 3 years running a dirt race, Bristol will be back on concrete for the spring this year. The drivers are very happy about it. Chase Elliott said about the track, when I was a kid, Bristol was one of the main reasons I wanted to be a race car driver. I mean, the environment is just unbelievable. The just slightly longer than half-mile track. Corey LaJoy will be out there too. Has high walls, looming grandstands, and a big bank. It is an absolute arena. The last couple of years, we have turned it into a dirt short track. The issue for me with it was not it, to be honest. The issue with it for me was very simply that if you are going to turn it into a dirt track, turn it into a dirt track. They kind of put down like a real thin level of dust over the track, just enough to let the cars slide around on it. But it wasn't a dirt track. It was a dust track. If you're going to make it a dirt track, make it a dirt track. Make it like the TR Speedway is. Make it dirt. Put enough dirt down that by the end of the first couple of laps, we're not seeing the concrete shine through. I think the dirt track experience was great. I thought the dirt track experience added an element to it that was good. But I get why you had to take it off. You guys know I love a gimmick in sports. I think the two things that drive us to sports are gimmicks and drama. We love a gimmick. We love drama. When I say gimmick, guys' personalities are gimmicks. Dennis Rodman was a gimmick for the NBA and also a great player, but a gimmick for the NBA. It was a gimmick that I very much liked. I've now said gimmick enough times that it sounds like a weird word. It was a gimmick that I liked, but I also understand it being one race and that one race having a dramatic impact on the overall race for the playoffs and race for a championship. I get why you would want to move on from it, because it is not as fun as it is, as entertaining as it is not a representation of the rest of the NASCAR season. If you're going to do dirt tracks, there needs to be 4 or 5 of them. It needs to be part of, hey, if you want to be a NASCAR Cup champion, you need to be consistently good on dirt. You need to be consistently good on road courses. You need to be consistently good on quarter milers and half milers not quarter milers, but half milers and 2.5 milers. And you got to run 4 super speedway races. If you are willing to include Atlanta as a mini super speedway, Pocono as a super speedway, as many as 8 super speedways throughout the course of the year. The dirt track was a fun one-off. I enjoyed it. I thought it made for good racing. I thought it was cool to see, half of these guys go back to their roots, because most of these cats got their races started, their racing career started on a dirt track. But it is a gimmick. It was a gimmick then. It is a gimmick now. It was a fun gimmick, but it was a gimmick, and it is not representative of the overall experience of the NASCAR schedule. So I get why it had to go. Texture said, so glad the concrete's back. That race has been watered down for the past few years. Hopefully it'll return to greatness. I honestly thought it was already great. I thought the dirt track racing was great. It just doesn't fit in. It would be like if the NFL for 1 week a year played on a 200-yard field. Like, is it interesting? Sure. Does it change up the dynamic? Sure. Does it challenge the athletes that are out there? Sure. Does it make it a different watching experience for the fans that's compelling to see what happens? Sure. But it's not representative of the sport. Now, what they ought to do is the All-Star race could be run on a dirt track. Go back to racing the All-Star race on local speedways. How cool would it be to have the All-Star race show up at Spartanburg or TR? How great would it be to see it on old school NASCAR tracks that are dirt, but in a race that doesn't count towards the season? Texter said, but Rob, I don't want to see who does the best racing on dirt. I want to know who is the best racer. All races should be indoors. You actually had a good text there, Texter, until you decided to be a smart ass at the end. All right? You had a good text going till you tanked it.
That was the whole point, I believe, of the text. Well done, Texter.
I know it was.
If you could have worked in 57 in there, you could have. It would have been awesome.
Left-hand turn from NASCAR. Left-hand turn from NASCAR back to the NFL. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bears are working on getting themselves a new stadium. They are on a quest to find a new place to play. Initially, they were looking at moving from Soldier Field out into the Chicago suburbs. That's pretty popular amongst the NFL teams. We're not going to be in the metro. It's very expensive to do that. We'll move out to the burbs. The Braves did it with Truist Park. The Dallas Cowboys did it with Jerry Jones World in Arlington. The Chicago Bears have actually scrapped moving out to the burbs. They have decided that they are going to move to a lakefront venue immediately south of Soldier Field. The Chicago Bears have decided that they are going to contribute over $2 billion with a B dollars towards their new stadium. They said the Bears are proud to contribute over $2 million to build a stadium and improve open spaces for all families, fans, and the general public to enjoy in the city of Chicago. The future stadium of the Chicago Bears will bring a transformative opportunity to our region, boosting the economy, creating jobs, facilitating mega events, and generating millions in tax revenue. We look forward to sharing more information when our plans are finalized. Soldier Field's current capacity of 61,500 makes it the smallest stadium in the NFL. The new stadium is expected to dramatically increase the number of seats available. And most importantly of all, the Chicago Bears' plans, Lonzo, include a domed stadium. Thank you, Chicago Bears. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for understanding that games outside in the cold with the wind whipping off Lake Superior will make for an awful outdoor game watching experience. Awful. I don't care if you live in Chicago. If you're from Chicago, as hating ass Mario is, we got to pick a new day for Mario, by the way. He'll be joining us on a new weekday. We'll let you know what it is next week. Chicago looked outside at some point during this last football season, and they said, if I had one word to describe the weather outside, that word would be sucks. It sucks.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
I'm not wrong. You want to know how I know that I'm not wrong and that I am, quite contrary, very, very right? Lonzo lives here. Lonzo, why do you live here?
Because I had a chance to get early inheritance, and then in every job that I worked at in Columbus went out of business. I mean, just not just I didn't get fired or quit. They don't exist anymore, and there was more job opportunity here in the South.
I will go look through hours of footage of this show to hear you say what you've told me in the past. Lonzo, don't make me do that. Why have you said dozens of times on this radio show, on that microphone, why have you said that you moved here?
Hear that's music.
Lonzo,
Rob.
Dozens of times you have said for one reason you moved here. What is that reason?
The opportunity to work with Rob Brown on the award-winning Rob Brown show.
And it is not cold here like it is in Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, Lonzo left the area because of the things that he is now trying to tell you are actually good and fun for football.
Entrapment.
You said what you said. I said what I said. Chicago Bears for the first time in ever. I like you. I appreciate you. I respect you. You have made a good decision. And I, for one, applaud you. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. A survey conducted by the Bears showed that fans overwhelmingly support a domed stadium. I just dropped it.
It's what you deserve.
Whatever, snow boy.
Hey. Admittedly, he got me there. But even when you get and got, don't go down easy. I'm going to go out today, buy me a garden rake, because my garden rake done broke. Need to find me a metal-handed garden rake so it don't broke.
So it don't broke.
So it don't broke. Because wooden handles, I don't know if you knew this.
They broke.
They broke. I could do that, Sean, but I gotta.
Whatever. Who the hell cares?
You got to give them a win every once in a
Blake.
while. Give them a win,
Yeah, that's it.
You gotta give them a win every once in a while. These youngins makes them feel better. Not only am I going to buy me a garden rake, I'm going to buy me some lawn scissors. I don't care if they're called shears. Lawn scissors sounds better.
Lawn scissors.
Yeah. Kind you take down a sapling if you're strong enough. They got that notch in there. You know what I'm talking about, that notch for like a sapling? That's why I don't know if it's I know it's shears. Shears have longer blades, but these have like just a blade that's about a little hook thing. And it's got a notch in it, so you can get in there and what's that called? I don't know what it's called. When I go today to purchase a new pair,
You can get big or small lawn scissors.
I'm going to look at it and see what the technical name of it is. I bet if I go to Lowe's and say, "Hey, I need me some lawn scissors. Could you tell me where they are?" They take me right to them.
And they'll say, "Do you need bigger or the small lawn scissors, sir?"
So you're saying you don't want shears, you want lawn scissors. Yes, sir. That's what I want. Why not?
Why not? It's Friday. Who cares?
Stomp a mud hole in your ass and walk it dry.
I don't know. I mean, some of that's risky. I mean, maybe back in the 90s when it was out, possibly. All right, time to ask Rob what the X is going on. The first thing, I will hint at what it is by saying "Et tu, Brute."
Today, the Ides of March, the day in which, at least literaturally,
According to Shakespeare, yes.
According to one William Shakespeare, Julius
Noted
Caesar
historian William Shakespeare
was turned on by the rest of the Roman Senate. Of
No,
course.
not turned on. He was. I mean, they turned on him because if he was turned on,
Not turned on by the Roman Senate.
Yeah, because
that's a different.
it's
a very different movie.
According to some shows and some.
Et tu, Brute.
Yeah, that's a totally different movie on a different station, probably.
Of course, the day on which.
But
Julius
some
Caesar
of you might have seen. So I mean,
was famously, literally stabbed in the back by his own Senate, including by his dear friend Brutus, leading to Shakespeare to credit him with the line of "Et tu, Brute," a phrase that is now used by those of us who feel like we have been betrayed by someone.
Lots of people have looked up whether Julius Caesar actually said "Et tu, Brute."
Joey B said the Ides of March is a fake holiday invented by Big Dagger in order to sell more daggers.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Get your dagger today.
That's where Hallmark got the idea from Big Dagger.
Of course they did. Did you ever have to do Julius Caesar in high school?
I read Julius Caesar because I used to read Shakespeare for entertainment because I'm a dork.
Weird. We had to do it in high school and I got to be Brutus. So I got to do the stabbing.
Dork.
Not that day because I'm a method actor. You haven't seen that guy. in years. All right, the next thing I didn't really do that. No investigation, please. The next thing that's Xing is hashtag Meat Mania.
He's a big ass boy, is what he is. God dang.
That worked out really good there.
I don't know why Meat Mania.
Hashtag Meat Mania.
Hashtag Meat Mania is trending. I am going to say, before I open Twitter X, that is what we in the business call a risky click.
No, it's not.
It's a
bunch of big men slapping meat.
Big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah. So the first person who shows up when you click on that is Big E, and then apparently there is a movement, a meat movement, if you will, across the WWE universe to get a Meat Mania match on WrestleMania between Otis and Bronson Reed and Ivar and any other big fat guy that could get in there. I would love to see a Meat Mania battle royale because that would be awesome.
Minimum qualification of 350. Got to be 350 to get in. Either lift or weigh.
And then R-Truth comes out and realizes he's not supposed to be out there. I mean,
This was on me.
yeah, exactly. That will work out perfectly. But yeah, hashtag Meat Mania. I don't know if there's a petition or something that you could sign to make it happen, but I want to see that.
Yeah.
I especially want to see it if Big E were to come back and participate. I know it's probably not going to happen. We've probably seen him wrestle for the last time, but it's good that he gets credited with that. All right. The last one we have time for, other than to say, I'm going to be on vacation next week. So if you don't see me, it's because I'm on vacation. It's not that I got in trouble for using the number 57 way too many times during this week. It's because of that. The last thing that is Xing is the Crow. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's the Crow. Unless you're doing that to a crow, which maybe you should, or a goose, if you will.
They're doing a remake of The Crow.
Trailer's out.
Okay.
Yeah. Trailer don't look bad. Don't judge it before. I haven't heard it, but I've watched it.
I'm not going to judge it. It is more along the lines of there are very few, but there are some franchises, some movies that to me are so good they should not be remade. And it's not very many of them. Like every time they reboot movies, I'm like, sure, why not? Like remake it so another generation can experience a moment. I think The Crow was perfect as a movie. Like the OG Crow, I think it was perfect.
It was pretty
I don't
good.
know how you improve on it. I don't think you can.
You put Pennywise in it. Trey says meat movement might not be radio friendly.
Relax, Trey. Relax. That's it for us. Y'all have a lovely weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Big weekend of sports, NASCAR, golf, college basketball. We'll break it all down when and by we, I mean I, come back on Monday because Lonzo's got better things to do, like cut the grass, apparently.
At least 57 times.
See you guys back here Monday on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate later. Yeah!
I would ask someone else to say 57 every day, but he just won't get it. So I won't.
Okay.
It was Meat Mania, not Meat Movement. Unless
Meat Mania.
And there was no movement of meat in there. Well, maybe, but it was like meaty men. Dude. Anyway. Are we still on?
Yeah, we are. Not for long. I'm going.
We really got banned in Russia now.
I am a real American.
You can't say Meat Mania in Russia. Some lady in Belarus just passed out.
We got a copyright strike notification on our Facebook yesterday, and I didn't know what it was. So I went and I looked it up after the show yesterday, and we have gotten another strike and now are officially banned in Russia. And the song that got us banned in Russia was Rick Derringer's I Am a Real American. It's
From-
the perfect
Hulk Hogan's
way to
theme.
get banned in
Yes.
Russia.
Yes.
Hulk Hogan's theme song got us banned in Russia.
I mean,
Would be a good one. I don't think I can do better than Putin took us off the air in Moscow because of Hulk Hogan's theme song.
I gotta tell you, when I'm done, that wins us a Star Award. That's all I'm saying.
I literally wrote it down. I'm like, that's
Oh,
promo.
well, so did I.
I
mean,
figured you would, but just in case.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
All right, dudes and dudettes, thanks for hanging out. You're all spectacular people. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. Goodbye.